Russ Clark with you on a hump day, Wednesday morning. Glad to be here. It's the day after all the voting. So I'll probably spend a lot of time going through some of this. Yeah, I've read most of it, but statewide, particularly as well as local. And we all have favorites. Myself, I couldn't wait to get up and see. I didn't stay up last night. Some friends were out, waiting for results to come in, which is always fun. I've done it in years past, always fun, but I do get up early. So I waited. I waited to get up early this morning. I want to start off with just Yuma a little bit. What went on in Yuma? In Yuma, we have 109,840 registered voters total. And something that's interesting is the number of Republicans, and it's been a while since I've looked at it. I remember when Greg Wilkinson was chairman of the Republican board, and I think in his first year, was when the tide flipped that we started having more registered Republicans than Democrats in the county. The county had more registered Democrats. Well, now the registered Republicans in the state or in this county, 35,318. Total Democrats, there's 28,904. That's significant difference. So it's continuing, and I think the Democratic Party's doing it to themselves. Or I don't know who they are right now. I mean, they're fighting amongst themselves on how communist they want to be. You know, it's this Democrat Socialist Party, which is basic communism, Marxism, and their platforms. It's gaining power in the Democrat Party, and a lot of Democrats were fed up with the left, going too far left as it was. Now they're trying to. I guess some are trying to bring it back to a centrist Democrat, and there was a lot of articles written about this election on so many super progressive Marxist type Democrats running, and some didn't make it, and our news articles were like, "Ooh, thank goodness the far Marxists didn't make it." And there tends to be a lot out there because I guess they're vocal, and I guess they're unafraid, unabashed, since Mandani got in and got some people some help. As he's continuing to make moves, I think is destroying the state of New York as well as his city. We'll see. Voter turnout dismal, 14.38%. As far as Republican turnout, it was 25.67%. Usually we just get the total number of of turnout, and we talk about the total number of 14.38, less than 15. And I know David Lara, recorder, had some articles in the newspaper and some stuff that he contributed to and was talking about, less than 15, and that's fair and that's good. But to have the Republicans at 25, 20, almost 25 and a half, 25.67 anyway, and the Democrats are at 22, less than Republicans, but I think that's impactful. It's kind of amazing. Libertarians, and there's not that many. Libertarians only have 591 registered. They only voted 6% of the time, 6.6. Not good. I guess they're libertarian, but they don't vote. The Green Party, 15.6%, more like the average. They were only 83 total registered. And the no labels, and no labels is a party, by the way. It's not a nonpartisan. Nonpartisan's nonpartisan. Um, that's just people that signed up, say, okay, I'll register to vote, but I'm not going to do anything, I guess. But at least that's what the numbers show. The no labels, which is a party of less than 1,000, it's 944. They voted almost 24%. So they were somewhere between the Democrat and Republicans on voting. The nonpartisan ones that don't claim any party, 0.17. And, now I'm thinking about it, uh, I don't know how any of them. Okay, in the primary, you get to pick whether you're a Republican or Democrat, so maybe that's what added to the Democrat and Republican numbers. I have no idea. I don't know if that's the way they registered it, or the way they voted. It could have been just that a nonpartisan comes up and says, "I wanna vote on the Republican primary," and they pick the Republican primary. Okay, that could have been why the numbers are goosed. I'll have to check that out and find out why this statistic shows nonpartisan 0.17. That doesn't seem possible. Maybe that's the only way it is possible. So if you vote nonpartisan in the primary, who do you vote for? Because you're not gonna get a what is your ballot gonna look like? 'Cause it would I know. The races are for, like, the mayor are nonpartisan. Maybe that's it. Maybe they just wanted to go in and vote for city officials. Maybe that's it because it was only 0.17 voters. They must count them as Republican or Democrat when they pull a primary, ballot for one of the parties. Okay, I just figured that out. We'll see if it's true. I don't know. Let's go through some of the, some of the city stuff first. And I was honestly worried about our mayor. I'm a big supporter of, Doug Nichols. I am. I like him. And this Carlos guy popped up, Carlos Adams. Now, I I spent a couple hours with Carlos Adams. Smart guy, business guy. Obviously got a lot of money to throw around because he spent a lot of money. The amount of signs he put up, the amount of things he did as a write-in candidate. He was a write-in. He didn't get enough votes. I mean, didn't get enough signatures. Same thing happened to Derek Egbert. He didn't get enough signatures, unfortunately, because Derek's a friend and would be a great councilman. But Carlos Adams, I don't know where he stands for on issues, on where he wants to take. I think he's kind of like a Mandani kind of guy, smart, articulate, like the guy. I'm afraid of him. It's like he may be a con guy, maybe not. I'm, if he wants to stay in politics, I'd like to spend a little more time with him and see where do you stand. I don't know if he's Republican or Democrat. I don't know. I've had people tell me that he's really a Democrat. I never checked. I mean, you can go online and check that stuff. See where you can't check how people vote, but you can check some of that stuff. He only got 598 votes. Now, obviously, Doug Nichols won at 5,630. Now, these are preliminary numbers. I think 96%. All precincts are in. 47 precincts. 47 out of 47 are in. But the absentee stuff needs to be counted, and maybe some late, but it's not significant numbers. That's going to change too much of anything. Obviously, it's not going to change this. There weren't enough write-in ballots total, even the ones they haven't counted to come to any difference for mayor. So congratulations to Mayor Doug Nichols. I talked to him a couple times about this, about Carlos Adams. I said, man, that guy is working it like unbelievable, knocking on doors, have lots of people working for him, and I went to the polling place out at the Civic Center, and he had people out there, talking to him and saying, vote for Carlos. Here's a card or something. It was where he stands for. And they did a great job at all of that. I mean, there was a lot of energy, a lot of stuff going on with Carlos. I still don't know what kind of guy he is. I mean, other than he's got a lot of energy around him. And that's a scary thought. Don't know where he stands. I know where Doug stands, and he's been wonderful for us, and will continue to be so. But he was out there too. Doug was out there at the Civic Center himself. I don't know if he had a bunch of people. Melba was out there also. Bob Joe was out there. There was a few that were out there at times. I didn't see them all. I got reports back on who was doing what at times. They were out there talking and doing stuff, which is good. It's nice to see the politicians and people out there asking, talking to people. That's great. The as far as the council members, the three that were on the ballot: Carol Smith, Henry Valenzuela, Ronald Van Wy. All three, it looks like made more than 50%. There won't be any general on this one. The write-ins total was 1,021. Obviously, not enough to overcome any one of the three. Now, and of course, Derek Egbert was the receiver of most of those at 592 so far. You know, maybe a little bit more, and that's a good showing. Nowhere near enough to challenge anybody. And in the order they came in, 4,900 for Carol Smith, 4,200 for Henry, and 4,200 for Ronald. Little slightly less than Henry, but all three showed in solid. So congratulations to all three, and we hope for a great next 4 years with you guys, as well as with the mayor. And I think it's done. But Egbert got 592, and Priscilla got 199. Another write-in. Then there was an unofficial write-in for 83. I don't know what the unofficial is. If you don't register as a write-in, and you have to register, and there's a cutoff date that you have to register by, you could write something in, but it's not going to count, and that kind of stuff. You can write in Mickey Mouse or something, and probably people do, I would imagine. Angry people will do that. See the other races. Town of Welton, I didn't know that well. What was going on? That was a lot of people running. There's three seats available. Gregory Attaway got 132 votes. Joshua Bogham got 142. Barbara Biggs 140. Richard Lawson 141. Colleen Lowndes 138. McCullough got 141. Jim Sampson 93 with 2 write-ins. I don't know where that one's going to go. Oh, and something I want to clear up on the 3 guys for council, and this is confusing. If you get 50% of the vote, you move on to the final. You don't have to 50 plus 1, but 50% plus 1. You get it's your seat. Now with 3 running, all 3 can get 50% because it's not one voter gets to pick for 3. That's not 3 votes. It's 1 voter. So they have to get 50% of the voters, which it looks like they all did. Total votes cast over 14,496 because they total up that 1 person gets to get 3. So it adds to it. But I can look at the mayor's race where, well, and it was 6,474 total votes. So there was somewhere around 6,000 total for the city, maybe like that. So if that's true, if it's around 6,000, then all of them, all the top 3, they do not have to worry about the general election. They can relax, go help somebody else, do something like that, and I'll get verification of that later. Let me see, City of San Luis mayor. Man, that one's tight. James Allen Jr. is in the lead at 402. And Taddeo Azel de la Hoya at 247. Mattis Rosales at 511, obviously in the lead. You vote for 1. I'm assuming that's nonpartisan. So maybe there's going to be a runoff of 2. I don't know. If there is, it would be Mateus and James Allen. I don't know them, so I'm not sure. I'm not going to go through all the city council members, but there's a lot of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them want to be on that city council. Well, that's great. It's great to see that kind of interest. Somerton mayor, two people ran. Geraldo Anya, 265, and Jose Mina, 241. So it'll probably be a runoff and all of that kind of stuff. Now, I want to get to some of the statewide stuff and some of the stuff that includes more than just Yuma County. Attorney General. Let me see if I got that one. Well, it's a log form. I got a lot to go through, and some of this doesn't make sense because I use the NOLs and all that stuff. I got to get to where it's Republican and Democrat. I don't think it was done like this last year. The format's a little different. I'm talking about the county stuff. Because they do the Green Party separate and all of the other stuff separate. I'm looking at the Green and the NOL, which I'm not paying a lot of attention to. They're not libertarians. I'm gotta get through the libertarians. Here we go, the Democrats. I'm really interested in Republicans. Oh, here we are. They're at the top of the page. Gutierrez, the only one running for representative for District 7. He's been running 2019 out of Yuma County. Paul Gozar, 639 out of Yuma County. Let me see how they did in the state total. Okay. And that would be district number 7. I show Wendy Rogers for state senator. Yeah, let's go right to representatives. State representative. District number 7. It's a congressional district. I'm looking at state. I'll get with you in a little while. I don't even have that, I don't think, in front of me for state. I'll have to get back to that. Well, we can look at 23 and 25. Timothy Dunn for the whole state got 19,000. He's unopposed as a Republican, which is fine. State and that's Senator Dunn, and he's gonna be running against a Democrat, Laura Huber, and she got 10,000, half of what Tim Dunn did, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now Michelle Alter is running for state senator in District 23 against Brian Fernandez. Brian Fernandez received 10,000 votes and unopposed as a Democrat, and Michelle got 7,179, which unopposed, and she's a wonderful lady. I don't know how it's going to end up down there in that district, but that's not a positive when even in the primary the Democrat is that far ahead. All right, state representative, district number 23, Michelle Pena got 53% of the vote, and Gary Snyder got 46%. Michelle Pena is completely embraced and loved. Gary Snyder, I can't figure out right now. I don't know why he ran against Michelle. I don't know how he got that many votes, other than you get to vote for 2, and most people just voted for the 2 that were there. Michelle has won 2 times as a state representative in District 23 in a district that is more heavily weighted Democrat. And Marana Sandoval got 6,950 votes, and she's the Democrat. Amelia Cortez 4,617, and Juan Manuel Guerrero, which will not make it to the final. So it just won't. Unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Now, Michael Carbone, who is the setting representative out of District 25, and Nick Cupper, also setting representative for the same district. They were very close. Carbone got slightly more. He got 53% of the vote, 16,000 votes, and Nick got 14,000 votes. Both are doing great jobs. And of course, both are setting in that because you can have two representatives and one senator, which is see, that's about it, unless somebody has a question about anything else that's going on in the state. I've got them all. I failed to print the feds. I failed to print that. I want to talk about Andy Biggs. Andy Biggs got 73.4% of the vote. That was huge. I saw his speech last night, and he asked for unity. Andy Biggs asked for unity, and that's huge, as you know, and probably if you do know, if you pay attention to that. We've had some splits in the Republican Party. Yep, we've had some where, after the primaries, we don't necessarily all get behind the one that's on, Republican or Democrat. Republicans for sure is the one I track. But we've had years where it's been really unfortunate that we've lost seats narrowly because we don't get the whole Republican Party. Andy's asking for that. Andy Biggs is asking for everyone to get behind. Now, something I want to talk to about, and I left him a note this morning. I don't know if he's awake or will call me this morning, but a lot of talk about him being a firebrand. I don't know if you read that, firebrand or ultra right wing or something that's radical or something. I don't know how he feels about being called firebrand. I've been thinking about that morning. I mean, this morning, and I don't think it's done in a positive, uplifting way. That Andy Biggs is a firebrand. Is that I don't think people put that on there to think, great guy, firebrand. I don't. I like it better than what Trump calls people, like sleepy or something along that line, or low IQ. I think I would take firebrand any day. Schweiger got 14.7%, but he's asking of unity, of getting together, and I applaud that. I just like awesome. It's a great way to start. As far as in the state or in the county, he got a total of 6,533 votes. Schweiger got 971. So we voted. It's very similar to the rest of the state. And he's already been considered. Now he got 397 or 379, 770 votes. Schweiger got 76,000 votes. Now, two of them together, obviously, are more than what Katie Hobbs got at 443,000. I am not a fan of Hobbs. I don't think she's been a good governor. I don't think she's done good things. I think she's vetoed most every bill I really liked. She's been proud of that she vetoes, and I know there's a lot of frustration within the House and the Senate of working with her on the Republican side, and yet she says she goes across the aisle. I don't see it. I haven't been told by a lot of Republican colleagues that's who she is. In fact, I quite often hear the opposite and some frustration. The Secretary of State, Gina Swoboda, did not win the Secretary of State. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me talk to Gilbert this morning. Good morning, Gilbert.
Hey, Russ, you know, it's really, really impressive.
What?
The difference, I don't have the names on there. One person got, we're talking governor, 335, 781, and 882. And that total, and Biggs got 5,746. So that's 7,744
Yeah.
votes. for Republicans.
It's actually a little higher
And-
this morning. It's up to 6,500.
Right.
Yeah, but you're right.
Oh,
It is impressive.
yeah, and Hobbs, what I got last night only had 5,728. So there's a 2016 difference
Yeah.
between them.
Yeah.
So all these people that ran against Biggs get together. We should kick butt and get the governorship.
That's the key, Gilbert. Get together.
Yep.
Get together.
Get together. You know, let's keep our egos outside the door. You know, when you walk in the room, you leave your ego outside.
Right.
And you work together as one, a unit. You work as a unit, and we can get the governorship if we get our acts together, stay together as one. Because what's happening right now with all the communist socialists
Yes.
that are coming across America in high areas like governorship.
Yep.
You know,
High profile, man. Even the mayor of New York, Mandani, is another example. And these guys are radical. They're not hiding it though, Gilbert, which I find encouraging. They're brave enough to step up and say all the outrageous things they want to have done. They want to destroy us, I think.
Look at Waltz, who's defending that foreign alien that raped that little girl.
Yeah. And he's not even radical enough to be called a socialist at this point. He doesn't take that title, but he might as well.
Right, but for him to be defending a pedophile,
yeah,
you know, there's where we're getting at. But I'm glad. Like I was up late last night for the elections.
Yeah.
And I counted all the other people that ran against Biggs, and then I counted with what's her name, Hobbs.
Yeah.
She only got, like I said, that when I quit counting, 5,728. She ran opposed.
Yeah. Well,
so that's challenging.
In the entire state, though, she did get more votes than Andy, but she didn't have an opponent.
Right.
You know, Andy got almost 380,000, and she got 443, so about 60,000 more. Hobbs got about 60,000 more, but Schweigert alone bled off 76,000, and there were others out there. You know, he wasn't the only one. You know, if you look at all of them, the total votes for the Republicans was really much higher than the total Republicans for Democrats. Total votes.
There was about 4 people running as on the Republican ticket.
Yeah, Ken Maselli, Scott Nelly, and David Schweigert were running against Andy.
Right. So there are a total of 4 people running.
Right.
And so I'm still comfortable that we're going to win.
It was impressive. I think it surprised Andy that the large margins that he got and the amount of interest he got. Now, it didn't hurt to have President Trump endorse him. And I hear some snide remarks at times like, oh, it would be the kiss of death to have Trump endorse you. Of course, that comes from Trump derangement syndrome people. Right.
Well, you know what? The other day they were talking about his batting average on people that he didn't know.
Stupid high. Yeah. In the 90s, high 90s.
Yeah. So I'm glad that our local, now let's embrace each winner of city council.
Yes.
All the negative BS
Yeah.
that was going around in the elections. Let's put that aside, put our egos aside, and let's work together as a team, because Yuma needs all the city councilmen, or person, I should say, to work together to get a fine city Yuma.
It's a new day, Gilbert, and your message is exactly right. And we'll pray for all of them and hope they all, you know, are working in the best interest. And some of them were not my favorites going in, but it's clean slate right now. We're going in fresh.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've never seen so much hate in an election as I did this year.
It was enough. There was enough. I don't know if it was the most, but it was enough. You're right.
It was quite embarrassing.
Yeah.
Especially when I know all the candidates. I couldn't vote for them, but I can support them. But it was embarrassing.
I think the mayor race was really uncalled for. You know, when you're right in and your chances are so minimal, to come out bashing that heavy from Adams, you know, and I'm going to talk to him about it.
That's all he had.
You know,
That's all he had.
I still don't know what he
You know,
stands for. He never really came out with a lot of programs. He says about stuff he doesn't like, you know, but I never heard what he does want to do. Never heard it.
Well, I had a conversation with him a couple of times, and I like the man.
Yeah,
and
he's
I
very
told
likable.
him straight out, and I said this on your show. This isn't your time.
Yeah.
I told him straight out. I believe this isn't your time. You need to get involved with other stuff in Yuma, city affairs, and get yourself known. You got a message. I don't understand your message, but
I don't know. I don't know.
You know, when I first talked to him, he started right away with transparency, and I said, I don't want to hear this transparency crap. That's just a go-to for everybody. You know, talking to I want more than that.
Right.
And like you said, you know, he had some general stuff that he said, but wasn't the time for him to run, especially as a write-in.
Right.
You're not going to do well against your incumbent mayor.
He put so much money into it. I don't think he got the numbers he deserved for the cash that he put out, but that's the way it goes with the write-in. It just does.
Ooh, man. Yeah. And he, you know, just with the signage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
More than anybody.
Yeah. And I'm gonna I can't vote in this election.
Yeah.
But everybody single shoot Michelle Pena.
I know.
We don't need Gary Schneider in there at all. His past record speaks for himself.
Yeah. You know, and
I'm saying that.
I understand it. I do understand it. Now, I'm still an officer on the Republican Party. I really can't say those things, but I understand.
Yeah. Well, we saw what he done.
Yeah, I know.
And his reputation speaks for himself.
He's created his own problems, buddy. He's created a lot of problems for himself. Yeah.
This is the guy that said he lived in he lived in Yuma while he was running against Cupper and Carbone, right? On that race.
I don't remember. Yeah, he was doing something like that. I don't remember. Yeah, he did. He moved into his mom's house temporarily to do that.
Yeah, wherever he lived.
Yeah.
And yet he still. And we both saw him on the stage. So you were supporting him there for a while, and we both saw him on stage telling the people he lives in San Luis.
I support his right to run, Gilbert. I support his right to run. Doesn't mean I'm voting for him. Okay.
I support for him to right. Yeah. But this is the time right now. We need to choose right, especially in that district.
Absolutely.
Just like Mr. Gutierrez, you see the difference in the votes between Grijalva and him.
Statewide, he's way down, even just
way down.
Yeah, even though he's running alone against Grijalva, you know, and I don't like Grijalva's politics at all. She's worse than her dad, I think, more vocal.
Oh yeah, and she's proud of it. She's
I
proud of
know.
it.
I know.
So I hope the Republican Party, this election, the whole state of the Republican Party backs up Mr. Gutierrez, because the citizens of Arizona are tired of hearing, we can't support him because he can't win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've heard that yourself, Russ.
I've heard it. I've heard it many times. I understand it. I mean, there's so much money left, and somebody has to sit down and make decisions on how it's spent. I'm not doing that. It's not my job, but I do understand.
It's your job here. It's your job here in Yuma County.
Oh, Yuma County. Yeah, well, that's easy. We don't have much. We don't have much. That's not the big dollars, buddy. But believe me, Gutierrez is included, but it's not the big dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just hope we go out. I mean, we go out and campaign for him.
Yeah,
the best we can with what money you have, and bring in all those favors that are owed to the Republican Party, and help them out.
Yeah,
because we need that seat. We need that seat.
Yeah, and we've never had that seat ever. It's always been a Democrat since the day they formed that congressional district. Grijalva was the first one elected in that district when they expanded.
Right, that was back in the days, you know as well as I do, That was one of those backroom votes between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party to get that seat and make sure that a Democrat would win.
Oh, it's gerrymandered to be Democrat strong.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
It's gerrymandered. And Ross Heeb was the first one to run, and I supported
Right.
Ross Heeb as a Republican. I supported him. In fact, I loaned him my airplane so he could fly back and forth to Tucson and campaign. I got behind him, but
Right.
he did he did according to what the registration was basically. They had about a
Right.
25% advantage. He lost by 25%.
And we knew it back then, those that were involved, that
Yeah.
it would be hard to beat a Democrat from there on out.
Oh well, yeah, right. And just like in Gozar's district, it'd be hard to beat a Republican. You're not gonna win that district. That's a heavy gerrymandered Republican district.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Just like I could never figure out why we didn't go up the river when we had that. We're voting for the Maricopa. Parts of Maricopa were in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great question, and no one's ever going to be happy with you're not going to get everybody happy with the results when you do these splitting it up. But I would like to see it more, less distance. I don't think we should be connected to Tucson. We have nothing in common with them, and it would be nice. It would be nice to do that up the river, like you say, because it just makes sense. And I think the statutes are written that way to try to bring communities together that have similarities and stuff. But they really. I don't know. Well, we got another chance to do it here in about 4 years, so we'll see what happens.
Yep. But right now, I'm asking all the voters, Democrats, Republicans, Independents.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get conservative candidates inside there. So, Democrat, I'm wanting you to vote to keep the socialists out of Arizona.
Yes, and we've got them here. Believe me.
Yes, we do.
There were some socialists that proclaimed to be socialist Marxists that were on the ballot. They didn't win, fortunately, and I saw that on national news. That was a national news thing, that the spreading of this Marxist agenda and stuff in the United States.
When you get on Fox News and you get on the 5 and you get on Gutfeld and they're talking about our elections, you made it, baby. You made it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got noticed. I don't know. That's always good, though. We'll see.
Yeah, that's it. Well, the Hollywood hound would say any type of publicity is great publicity, right?
Yeah, it used to be. Any news, any publicity is good publicity. No, not true. I don't think it's true.
I just want to call in and asking those that were against that one candidate, put your feelings aside. Let's work together, and let's make Yuma great.
I got you.
Like I said, I've seen this is the worst I ever seen anti-candidate ever in Yuma, in the city of Yuma. So let's work together and make Yuma one of the greatest cities in the state of the United States of America, Russ.
You got it, my friend. I appreciate the call and the attitude. Thanks. All right. Bye. Yeah, I like both. I didn't mention the person that ran for governor in the Green Party. Maybe that was on purpose, maybe not. But Riza Lombardo. They obviously didn't spend a lot of money campaigning. They didn't even send in a picture, for the website. I don't even have a picture. 346 votes, but they got 100% of the Green Party votes. And so that's good, 346. I don't know why they do that. I have no idea. But anyway, Secretary of State, I started to mention it. Gina Swoboda did not win. She's at 40%. She got 197,000 votes. Now, she was the Republican chair. And she was endorsed by Trump to be the Republican chair. I mean, in fact, he had asked or got behind her to be the Republican chair. He did not endorse her for Secretary of State. She was not my favorite by any means. I didn't know Alexander Kulodin really, but I voted for him. Absolutely. So I think it, and he's got a lot of great people behind him, a lot of endorsements behind him and stuff. So I think we've got a great ticket there. Even though I don't know him, I've got to get to know him now, and I hope I haven't called a lot of politicians to be on the air, basically because I can't tell them I'm on 560. Really, I'm not. Uh, if we can get that thing turned on, I would be making a lot more phone calls, letting them know that I could really do a better job of getting them out there. But I call a few. Warren Peterson, Attorney General, won. He's running for Attorney General. He's president of the Senate, actually, right now. He's got a great track record, brilliant guy. It was close. I say close. Rodney Glassman, and I like Rodney. I do. 219,000 votes is what he got, so he's quite a bit behind. He did not win. He got 43%, which is more than I thought he would get. I thought Warren Peterson would even pull more, and I definitely want to see Rodney Glassman get behind Warren and unite. There needs to be that, and Rodney Glassman has been on the show quite a bit. I've talked to him quite a bit. I've known him for 20 years. Back when he was Grijalva's aide, he worked for Raul Grijalva way back when, and was running unsuccessfully for something. He has never won a race, and he's run every cycle for something. Corporation Commission. I know his most recent before this, and now Attorney General. It's not that he's not qualified. He's very qualified and handles himself well, but he has not excited the voters. Has not. A good guy. And no, I didn't even vote for him, but yeah. Adrian Fontes, of course, is the setting Secretary of State. I didn't mention him, but he'll be going up against Alexander Calderon. He got 100% of the vote. He was unopposed at 430,000. He got 430,000. Alexander only got just less than 300. But Swoboda took about 200,000 away. So between the two of them, you add that together, they got almost 500,000. About 490,000. So the votes are there to flip that Secretary of State. Very important position. Very important to get Fontes out of there. He's not been policies I like. The state treasurer was another fairly close race. I like them both. Catherine Haley, I interviewed her. I talked to her a little bit, and she got 44%, did not make it. Elijah Norton, a young man, multimillionaire, self-made, smart guy. I've had him on air. I've talked to him at times when I've been in Phoenix and stuff, and he's just he's a go-getter, and he's been helping the Republican Party for many years. He's a treasurer for the Republican Party for a while. Helped bail out a lot of stuff. He's got some great ideas for the Treasury to bring in more money than what we were even under Yee, and I liked Yee, but he's more. I think he's more of a finance guy than even Yee. So and Kimberly Yee's a wonderful lady. We hope to see him do it. Kimberly Yee did win Superintendent of Public Instruction barely, and Tom Horn. I really like Tom Horn. I didn't, he's older. That's not a bad thing. I like older, but I think Kimberly. I think it's time for Kimberly Yee. I do. I think it's great. I think it's fine. I hope we all get behind him. Tom Horn will get behind the winner. He will. He's a gentleman and a great guy. He'll get behind Kimberly Yee, and for that public instruction, it's so important. It's so important for a lot of reasons. Look, the left, including our current governor and stuff, they have been working hard to destroy ESA. They want to destroy it. They don't want it. They want to take care of that teachers union and get rid of alternative instruction. That is so important to keep that going. And Tom has done a wonderful job of keeping that strong, keeping it vibrant, making sure that there's no corruption in it. making sure that if somebody applies for reimbursement on something that isn't qualified, it's a no, 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 because you got to keep it so clean that the left is looking for any leverage to say money was corrupt, money was wasted, it was so stupid or something. Tom's done a wonderful, wonderful job at keeping that clean and keeping that up. It is top priority to keep it clean, and as a result, the left doesn't have anything. They make up stuff about hot tubs and cappuccino makers or something were used with the money from ESA. Not true. There have been people attempting to do stuff. That is true. It's true. People will try stuff. Didn't get past Tom. That's wonderful. And we've got, of course, Democrat that will be facing Kimberly is Leba Rios, Teresa Leba Rios. She got 337,000 votes. Kimberly Lee got 271, but she had a very strong opponent that got 240. I mean, it was much closer, so over 500,000 votes that were put out there from the Republicans for the superintendent of public instruction. Not so much on the Democrats, even though Teresa got 337, the opponent got 87,000. Now, there may have been others. I don't know. I'm only looking at the top two. I don't know. 87,000 votes. So it looks like more votes were done on the Republican side, and I hope that's the case. We're more registered Republicans, and we need to make sure we keep that one strong. We've been very fortunate Tom Horn was in there. Those the two Republicans we had at those state offices, Kimberly Yee with the treasurer and Tom Horn with public instruction, were all we had. We kind of turned like a purple state with a governor that was Democrat, a secretary of state that's a Democrat. It was just embarrassing. Embarrassing. Corporation commissioner Kevin Thompson got 35.9% of the vote. And then this Ralph Heap, who I do not know Ralph Heap, came in second. Ralph Heap, he got 251. And then Nick Myers, who I did know as an incumbent, got 240. So he's 11,000 votes down. And with 97%, I don't know if there's a chance or not. It looks like it's going to be Ralph and Kevin. I think that get corporation commission on the Republican side. And of course, Democrats going to have two people come forward. But hopefully we get to keep that in the Democrat hands. All right, that's a recap I got. I think I covered most everything. If not, I've got my printouts here. I can take a look at it if you have any questions on mine inspectors or something strange. I should have that. I should have that handy. But Derek Egbert, I didn't mention. He did not make it. Now, it didn't surprise me to have enough people, 5,000 people is what it would take, and probably to write your name down when it's not on the list. I mean, that's a hard one to get done. I mean, it's a hard one to get done. And Derek, I think, got almost 600 votes. 600. So it's not enough. It wasn't enough, unfortunately. Well, I haven't talked to Derek about the future, about what he wants to do. And obviously, I see him. I'm at Mortgage One Studio, where it's his office, his building, and I see him probably every day, or at least I say hello every day. But as he's working on opening AM 560, that's been his thing from the very start, and he's been, he's been taking the risks, taking the jump to get that done. He's financing the whole thing. And God bless him. He cares about the community. He cares about what's going on and the information out there. So, and that is behind it. Derek is not doing this to make money. I don't know how to make money in radio. I don't think. I think we can break even if we play it right, and that would be good. That would be good. I mean, there's a lot of money going in to put a signal up there. There's a lot to put up the antennas, to put up the equipment, and it's all going to be, advertising. That's the only thing we've got is the advertising. And there's already been some locals, and I haven't talked to many people. There's already been some that are going to jump in and want to see this thing work and see it get off. So I think we'll be fine. I think will be good, and be able to highlight some businesses out there that want to get behind it, and that's actually a lot of fun. Want to talk a little bit about the Iran war. It's going on amazingly. I don't know how much more punishment, and I don't always understand, why the different sides do what they're doing. I don't think anybody does for sure exactly know what Trump's going to do next, or what Iran's going to do. I mean, they're more crazy than Trump is as far as not being able to figure out the direction, which I think is, it's why they've been so good at negotiating. Everybody's frustrated and they just give them what they want. Trump's not. Trump's bombing them and continue to do so. In fact, my understanding is that there's some factions in Iran, who knows who's leading it, but some factions in Iran has come forward and says, we want to talk now, which is also it's just a distraction to pause it for a while so they can get their breath and restock some stuff that got blowed up. I think. Well, Trump said, no, I'm not ready. I haven't retaliated enough. And that's a language that he's using because that's the language they use. Retaliate. I don't like it. It kind of makes me, it seems emotional instead of logical, but I understand why Trump's doing it. I understand he uses that stuff to, um, a language they understand, a context they understand, um, which is fine. So it's continuing on. I think it's 10 days now. Oh no, 11 days. Just completed 11 days. I think it's more than the original, and I think it's been more ferocious, and the targets have been more infrastructure, bridges, power, some water stuff. Um, it has been, uh, watching it has been, I guess, kind of like, oh no, I mean, it has to be done, but it's going to affect the rebuilding of the country. It's going to affect, let's say that everything gets peaceful today. There's a lot of places that are rubble, and it's going to take decades or a generation to rebuild some of this stuff. But that's what happens. I mean, look how long it took to build Japan back. Japan was 2 nuclear bombs wiped out some stuff, and Europe was really devastated because it was just no nuclear bombs. It was just continuously bombed to get rid of manufacturing. I mean, the same thing happened in World War II that Trump is doing now. They were after power plants. They were after manufacturing. They were after, the ability for them to use logistics to, the roads, the bridges, and all that kind of stuff. So you couldn't move things, trains, which is, the stuff that is supplying their ability to keep fighting is what Trump has been targeting. And that's that won World War II. You had to stop them from making weapons. You had to stop them from achieving weapons and being able to strike back. And that's what's going on. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he is just doing a wonderful job of communications. I tell you, he looks presidential, and he's very confident and very direct, and but at the same time approachable. A nice combination. He does a great job. He warned there's going to be consequences if Tehran continues to violate its commitments, and because the United States says it's remaining willing to negotiate. At the same time that Trump said, "I'm not negotiating right now," but I guarantee you, somebody's talking to him if they want to talk. I don't think there's anything they can say right now of substance other than we surrender. That's going to shake Trump, and he is the final word. In fact, he said early on before this latest strike started, before the 11th day, he said it's coming, and we're not interested in talking. I mean, you can always talk to these guys, but I'm the one that's the final say. It's me. He said, the buck stops here. Didn't say that, but that would have been nice if he did. Everybody knows what that is. Marco Rubio said, the problem we're having right now is that they're not serious about talks. If they're serious, we're serious. If they're not, then we will do what is necessary to protect our interests and also the interest of our allies. My understanding on the talks is that they will sit down and just argue and amongst themselves and everything for 15 hours, 20 hours, finally come to an agreement, walk out, and then change their mind 5 hours later. That's just that's a frustration for all of them, and I guess a frustration for the Obama party. The Obama regime, they did that for 18 months with Iran. Finally, just gave in to them. I guess they got frustrated. They thought, well, these guys aren't smart enough to figure it out. Well, I think they were smart enough to figure it out, and they figured out you'd be frustrated and give them more than you should have. Rubio says, if we create a president, and they're talking about maybe throwing it. I mean, uh, a president of letting them have the Strait of Hormuz or something. But if we create a president in the Middle East where a nation state can decide what they are going to control on an international waterway, and if you don't pay them, blow up your ship, we have created a very dangerous precedent, which will repeat itself in other parts of the world, including in this region. Which, yeah, I mean, the Houthis are already doing it right now, and I think they're doing it at the request of Iran. They're another one of the principles of Iran. He says a fundamental principle of freedom of navigation is at stake. If that is threatened, then I think the global economy is threatened, and the rules which have underpinned 150 years of international trade and commerce are also threatened, and that cannot be allowed to happen. Now, these comments came after the US and Iran passed the halfway point of the 60-day negotiating window established under a June 17th Memorandum of Understanding. I don't know why they put that in there. The Memorandum of Understanding, Trump said, has already been broken, but we're at the halfway point of it anyway. And that covered nuclear missile programs, sanctions, freedom of navigation, all that kind of stuff was in there. But despite the agreement, Iran repeatedly attacking commercial vehicles in the strait while U.S. forces continued Iranian military targets across the region. President Donald Trump declared a ceasefire over. And he said Tuesday that Iran wants to desperately meet. And yeah, he did. He said they desperately want to meet, but we're not going to, pretty much. I'm sure somebody's talking to them, otherwise we wouldn't know they want to meet. Rubio echoed those remarks, and he says Washington remains prepared to negotiate while making clear military force remains an option. So I think they're willing to negotiate at the same time the bombings are going on. They're not going to stop to talk, just talk faster. The United States remains open and willing to engage in positive negotiations and talks so long as the commitments that are made are kept. When those commitments are not kept, which is what's happening in this particular case, then there will be consequences. And that has to happen. Maintaining the threat of military action is necessary to prevent Iran from disrupting one of the world's most important shipping lanes. If these consequences didn't exist, then today we would be living in a world where a significant percentage of the energy supply in this region and 20% of the world's energy supply is being held hostage by a rogue regime. Well said. He comes forward. I don't know what Iran has to say at this point to get Trump to stop bombing, but it's not we want to talk. I don't think that's the right message yet. Try again. Better be something like we give up. We'll agree to your terms or something. I think. I don't know. Trump hasn't been real specific with us. Maybe he has been with them. But I think they could figure it out regardless. I think they could figure it out. Department of Homeland Security. I guess I missed this, but I remember it now. I remember back when we started doing deportations and cracking down on illegals and criminal illegals and getting them out of the country through a lot of means, a lot of self-deportation, which is most of it is self-deportation with incentives. At the same time, he talked about, and Trump administration talked about fining people that stay past visas, fining people that stay in the country illegally. Well, it's been the civil fines, there's been 100,000 of them, 100,000 civil fines, and they total $84 billion, all bills sent to illegal immigrants, which is great. Surprisingly, though, they have collected 1.2 billion in fines. So we've had some illegal aliens write us a check. Now, Donald Trump, when he returned to the White House, and it's been 18 months, hard to believe it's 18 months. He issued those fines back then, and he's been collecting. And shortly after he returned to office, and again, I guess I remember it, but I put it aside. I thought it was just a threat or something that we'd probably never see a dime because most of these people came here to take advantage of us and collect money from us, not to pay fines. He began fining illegal immigrants $998 a day if they failed to voluntarily leave, and I knew that was a carrot and a stick thing. The $998 is the stick. You take your choice. I'll give you a gift, or hit you hard. Well, they unveiled as far as the carrot goes, some of the measures to encourage illegals to self-deport was they could keep the money that they earned or stole. I don't know how they get it, but you could keep it. Keep the money you earned while in the country, and you preserve the eligibility to pursue legal immigration in the future. And it doesn't say this in the article, but I know they were also given opportunities to get plane rides home and some cash, a couple grand, which is much cheaper than sending ICE agents out there to go find them. Leave on your own terms, picking your departure. And he turned that app in that Biden created. Biden created an app where you could enter the country illegally with an appointment. And you could go online or on this phone and just put in your request. And I guess it would give you the opportunity that you can come in illegally, and we won't say anything. Or they'd send you an airplane. They started sending out tons of airplanes to bring people in illegally, so that you didn't have to bother driving, walking, or hiring transportation. And the borders don't look too messy for photo ops, and it did kind of start after that when Texas had this line of people that was miles long, and masses amount of people, and it didn't play well in the press, so we just send them airplanes, land them at night in these airports around the country, and hide everything. And you should be weary. You should be weary of any administration that's not transparent. And that is not a transparent thing to do. There was no announcement of it being done. In fact, I had people here at Yuma taking pictures of airplanes and sending them to me that would get low. They would turn the lights off on the tarmac and have these planes out there and load them up. And then they would not tell anybody. Definitely not transparent. Meanwhile, he's warning anyone who fails to self-deport and they're apprehended with no opportunity to get your fares in beforehand. You know, you're done. You're going to lose. You're going to lose out. They're reporting that there's been 3 million illegal immigrants that have left the United States during Trump's first year back, first 12 months. He got 3 million back. 2.2 million of those self-deported. I don't know exactly how they find those numbers out. Obviously, the ones that fill out the apps, they know them. They gave them some money, and they know them. I just had Derek Egeberg bring me more coffee. How nice is that? That was nice. He's in here already. What time is it? 7:04. His day's been running. See? I didn't even get a chance to console him about the election. Although I think he knew the odds. I think he knows. He said the administration deported 900,000 illegals, and they arrested another 900,000 as of May 17th. So it's going on. And I know we talk about ICE a little bit because it's in the newspaper when a tragedy happens. When a tragedy happens, uh, ICE agents are hurt or somebody else is hurt, uh, and that's the nature of policing. You're going to have people that don't want to cooperate. You're going to have people that fight. You're going to have people that do stupid. And ICE is going to get the blame every time because the left hates ICE. I think we should get an investigation, as they would in any police action. Police actions like that happen all the time. And there's a protocol of investigations and all, depending on what's going on. They do that. Same thing needs to happen to ICE, but man, the left doesn't care. They're just going to jump and call ICE murderers and stuff. Need to go. They need to be disbanded and all that. But ICE, and I mentioned before, in Biden's last year in office, the ICE office in Yuma had 12 arrests for the whole year, averaging one a month. And it was depressing. It was depressing for those that were in there. And there's people in there that were just going to retire early, get out, because it was unfulfilling to have a government job and do nothing. And see, all along you thought government jobs did nothing and enjoyed it. Well, apparently not the ICE guys. The ICE guys were frustrated. They couldn't do what they wanted, what they had to do to protect the country. That's why they signed up for that one. Of course, that changed when Trump got in. People canceled their leaving, canceled their retirement, decided to stay, and of course, boy, did it spool up. I mean, these guys are busy now. There's so many targets out there, and I'm talking about illegals in the country that have either committed crimes and been convicted, or committed crimes, or suspected of committed crimes, or wanted for crimes. A lot of times the left doesn't like to include those. They only says, well, there's not that, and they only include felons. They say only 6% are felons. It makes it sound like they're just they're picking up people for not going after the bad guys. Well, the bad guys have not all been convicted of a felony. They may be charged. They may be looking for them in this country or other countries, and that puts them on the list. Left doesn't recognize that. Innocent until convicted type stuff. That's not the way it works with the immigrants. They're not citizens, and they'll send them back for trial, or they'll send them out for all these things. And that's what happened. That's our laws. But the left doesn't want to change the laws. They just want to ignore them, I guess. They want to ignore them. But they've been spooling up. They've been hiring people. And I've talked to an ICE agent about that, about some of the hires, and there was a concern that there's so many new people that training, getting them up to speed, and all that stuff. It's a chore. It's a chore. It's a big responsibility. You're going after the worst of the worst. It's like SWAT teams for these local police forces. The ones that are most likely to get into an altercation, or because they're going after the ones that are most likely to fight. Add to that all the confusion that the protesters, the paid protesters do, and blocking, screaming, yelling, bullhorns, and everything in the midst of all of that. These guys are awesome. Just to hold it all together, they need our praise. These ICE officers, particularly, but everyone that's a first responder and that is doing the good work for us to keep us safe, and then don't get appreciated on top of it, and are villainized. It's sad. It's a sad day that goes on, and there's many out there on the left that are just convinced that we should defund them all, get rid of everybody, and then the world will be happy. I don't know what planet they live on, but we get great opportunities. We're United States. We got 50 states. We got 50 experiments going on out there. 50 states that run things differently. And if a state wants to fire all their police department, they can do that. They can do that. If they want to not arrest criminals, they can do that. And we got states doing that right now. We got states. I think we all know who they are. We can see them in the news about the shootings, the robberies, the people leaving, the U-Haul that can't get enough trucks to get people out of there, the millionaires, billionaires fleeing, going to other states. That's happening right now every day in this country. More than I've ever seen. I mean, I'm sure it's happened for our entire history, where you move for opportunity, you'll move for a better job, a better opportunity, but short of a gold rush like we had in California during the 1800s, this kind of migration has been pretty remarkable. That people are seeing no hope for California. People are seeing no hope for New York, parts of Minnesota, Illinois, some states in the Northeast to a lesser degree, maybe Virginia, New Jersey. I don't know. Some of them, and they're feeling the pinch, and they're starting to cry a little bit. They're starting to panic, saying, "We'll come back, come back." We have the opportunity to screw it up. We do. That's our system. Screw it up if you want to. And I hope the federal government doesn't bail them out. They're going to have to go through some pain of reconstruction, and yeah, a lot of people are going to lose money. A lot of property is going to be devalued, but with attitudes change, you'll have a lot of investors rush right back in there. You will. You start selling things in New York City for 20% of what they were worth, 5 years ago. You'll probably get people that want to jump in on that if they see some hope for some real reforms of law and order, just basic stuff, law and order. How about that? Reasonable taxes, all those kinds of things. We'll see. In Nevada, nearby state, and I didn't know this till this morning. I didn't really know the political fights going on in Nevada between the governor. I don't know much about the Nevada governor, Joe Lombardo. He's running for re-election in Nevada, and he's running against a Democrat called Aaron Ford. Now I don't know if he professes to be one of the socialist Democrats, but he's got a policy agenda probably that would be admired by a lot of the socialist Democrats who probably would agree with that. Now, Aaron Ford, to his credit, is doing something I like, and that is, if you're running for office, put out what you stand for. What are your proposals? What are you looking to accomplish? And I absolutely love that. He's put out one that has 76 proposals in it, so that's pretty massive. That's a lot of work, to come up with 76 proposals. And it's something when we talk about the mayor's race, and I can talk about Carlos Adams a little bit. I still don't know what his proposals are. He ran for mayor of Yuma. I don't know. The only thing he ever put out was how much he didn't like Doug. That generally doesn't work for people. It doesn't. It didn't work for him either. As a write-in, it's pretty amazing if somebody could win as a write-in. That would have to be a perfect storm. But anyways, put out 76 proposals, and it combines Nevada spending and its cost, all kinds of business, federal government, all kinds of stuff that's going to go out there. So it was pretty thorough, I guess. I did not read it. I'm reading the breakdown of some of it. The analyst look at it and said it projects $7.93 billion in direct state spending over a 4-year term. And that Nevada just can't absorb that kind of spending on that scale without higher taxes. Now, Nevada doesn't have any sales tax. They're not a heavily taxed state. There's a Mark Pingle. He's with the University of Nevada. He's Reno. He's a professor, and he backed the report's findings. The analyst. He said, based on a review of Aaron Ford's policy proposals, an estimated cost of $18 billion is a reasonable assessment. $18 billion, not 7.93. The bottom line is simple. These proposals would require a record-breaking increase in spending before moving forward with a plan this expensive. Nevadans deserve clear answers about how it would be paid for, who bears the cost, and what would it mean to the state's long-term financial stability, regardless of the political party. I read this and I'm thinking, great. I'm glad that's all coming out. I wish they'd have done that in New York. Mandani would have gone through 76 proposals, and we could have put a pencil to it all and said more specifically why he's going to destroy New York versus watching him do it and say, "I told you so." But I didn't have the details because Mandani talked in riddles at times. He said, regardless of political party, 18 billion in new spending deserves careful review of an explanation how it's going to be paid for. And and 18 billion wasn't in 1 year, and I don't know if it was in 4, maybe 10. I don't. I didn't really specifically say, but he said because Nevada has no income tax, personal income tax. I'm sorry, sales tax it has. It has no personal income tax. This kind of spending would require additional revenue from other taxes, fees, reductions in other spending, or some combination. Healthcare agenda is going to go through some of Ford's proposals. It is the largest price tag, about 4.25 billion, according to this one analyst, and it would address medical debt and predatory healthcare practices, including 3.5 billion for a proposal to cancel medical debt. So this Aaron Ford is running on a policy that he puts out there and says, if you vote for me, I will pay off all of your medical debt to the tune of 3.5 billion. He's just putting that in there that I'm going to promise you money from the treasury. Dangerous if they vote for him. I mean, that would be scary. And I don't know if a governor can outright do that. I mean, Biden tried to pay off a lot of people's debts and some of the education stuff, and he couldn't do it legally. He did a lot that was legal, like with government workers and stuff. But a lot of it he got blocked. Said the report estimates an extra 1.76 billion be needed to expand healthcare affordability, and that what they call affordability. We want to make it affordable. Affordable to who? Not to the taxpayer. See, somebody's going to have to pay the bill. And that's what these people are pointing out. Yeah, the people reading this say, I should vote for this guy. My healthcare costs will go way down. He's going to pay off all my debt. And he'll also bankrupt the state because you're going to need more money to pay for it. Somebody's got to pay for it and expand the Medicaid protections and stuff by adding to it with the state. State can volunteer, they can add. Also, there's an education plan. It would cost an extra 3.68 billion alone. That would raise Nevada's per pupil funding to the national average, expanding pre-K, providing universal school meals, increasing pay for salaries and support staff. It all sounds good. And I'm sure he's looking at that saying, everyone's going to vote for me because everyone's going to get something. I'm guessing that. He hadn't said that, but so when I look at this, I said, yeah, God, you're trying to buy votes here. Which I think every politician is promising good things to buy votes. I think Doug Ducey bought votes by saying Arizona's for business and we're going to give you school choice. He didn't say we're going to give you money. It's going to create wealth, not destroy the wealth. They're two different promises. I like Ducey's approach better. The report estimates households would receive 17.88 billion in savings and other benefits, while business, the state and federal government would bear nearly the same amount in cost. In other words, he's going to give away basically to the households in Nevada, if you vote for him as governor, $17.88 billion would be yours. We'll just roll it out in the form of education, in the form of healthcare, paying off debt. And then we just had to make sure the federal government and the state bear. Now, the state doesn't have any money. The state doesn't have any money. They only collect it from you, so they're going to collect it right back. Kind of ridiculous. Now, according to the report, it would cost 4.9 billion for education, 4.8 billion for housing. So I guess there's a housing program in there that everyone deserves a house. 6 billion for healthcare, 1.5 billion for energy, and nearly, because he's going to help with energy bills, nearly 900 million for economic development. Well, these reviews of Aaron Ford's, the Democrats' policy agenda come out, and they're not taking it lying down. So they have a Ford campaign spokesperson, Brianna, Jagadesh. Jagadesh? Yeah. And she says General Ford. And I don't think General is a title. I think that must be his name. I didn't look it up. No, it's not. His name's Aaron Ford. Maybe he's a general. Oh, he was Attorney General. Okay. Yeah, he was Attorney General, or he is Attorney General. General Ford won't be lectured by a governor who proposed a budget with a 335 million unconstitutional deficit and twice broke his pledge to never raise taxes. I guess that's the answer, which if that's the answer to the criticism, if your criticism is your stuff is too expensive, and then you get a spokesman comes out and says, "Well, yeah, you're expensive too." Um, I don't think that's trying to argue the premise that you're too expensive. I don't think so. I think Jagadesh shouldn't be the spokesman if her first if that is the first that she says. I don't know this author of this made that the press, but she does. They did put a lot of quotes in here from her. Jagadesh said, "The Lombardo campaign is embarrassing themselves and insulting the intelligence of voters by pushing this fraudulent report. The report lies about Attorney General Ford's policies and assigns fake costs to programs that won't cost the state a penny and will actually save taxpayers money and incorrectly attribute costs to the state. Lombardo's campaign rushes out this incredibly sloppy report in a desperate attempt to divert attention from a viral video of Lombardo's ambushing his position of power to evade consequences for breaking the law. Nevadans already know Lombardo has spent the last 4 years raising costs on working families and is offering no solutions to the problems they're facing. The Ford campaign specifically disproved several of the report's largest assumptions, arguing Lombardo's teams assigns costs to implementation measures Ford never proposed. Among other examples, the campaign says the report wrongly accuses Ford would spend hundreds of millions expanding the state's battle-born health plans and particularly replacing federal Medicaid reductions. Ford's campaign says the platform instead calls for an outreach surrounding the existing battle-born program and federal advocacy to prevent or reverse medical cuts and not new state appropriations to backfill them. Now, that's from Jagadesh, that entire quote is what she put out there. And you'll notice there was no details. It's just deny, 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 and no details. And it made a few comments about Lombardo's team assigning costs to the implementation and stuff, which Ford never proposed. And I found that one very interesting because Lombardo's campaign comes back and explains that and says, "Look, if you're in this office, the implementation is real. To implement it takes personnel, takes stuff. It does. You can't get around it. It just doesn't come out of thin air. The implementation's expensive." Uh, I think Ford just naive. I don't know. I don't know. He's Attorney General though. I mean, he must know the law, I guess. The Ford campaign also said that its own fiscal analysis, arguing the platform could be implemented without raising taxes and with substantially lower direct state costs than those proposed by Lombardo's campaign. When I read this, it reminded me of Obama a little bit. Obamacare. Remember Obamacare? Where he would just adamantly insist. He would get to a microphone. If you like your doctor, keep your doctor. Every family's going to save $2,500 a year in savings. Tons of stuff like that. Didn't include and it was never like that from day one. From day one, it was a disaster, more expensive. Uh, a lot of providers, leaving states, going out of business, whatever. And it's been a disaster. The whole Obamacare was a disaster. This sounds like the same thing. Just tell them it's going to be lollipops and unicorns, and it's wonderful, and not give specifics. Now, and when it goes through some financial analysis from some guys from like a professor at Reno, that's what he does for a living, and he comes up with it. You don't point by point go through and tell him where he's wrong. You just say it overall. No, you got it wrong, and it's wonderful. Then I'm not buying it. I don't think I trust this Ford guy, especially since a former state senator, Ben Kickheffer, wow, Kickheffer, who served as the chief of staff to Lombardo. He said Ford's proposal would require significant tax increases. The level of spending is simply not sustainable. There's no realistic way to absorb cost at that scale without significant tax increase. Regardless of political party, proposals of this magnitude deserve serious scrutiny because Nevadans expect responsible budgeting, fiscal discipline, and the clear explanation of how these promises would actually be paid for. And there's somebody that was a chief of staff. Said, of course, Nevada lawmakers do the same thing. They come out and say, Lombardo's report uses fake math. That's what they say, fake math with no details. It's a lie about the Attorney General's Ford's policy position. Ford's consist of common sense policies that will save money at very little or no cost to state. It's just not true, I don't think. If it was that true, everybody would do it. Now, as Attorney General, and this is just a side note into Ford, Aaron Ford, you should know about who you're voting for. At least the people in Nevada should. Well, we're not going to do it, but we hate to see states fail. Ford apparently racked up more than $410,000 in travel costs since taking office in 2019. And I think that's kind of significant. I don't know how much he had to travel or where. I mean, state attorney general, he's going to go out of state occasionally, maybe maybe DC or something, but I don't know. Normally, you just travel in the state. It's not that big a deal. 410,000 is a lot. Local outlets report he spent more than 100 days outside of Nevada. Yeah, it says 2019. I don't know if that's bad or good. I don't know. A spokesperson for the Attorney General's office said the trips were tied to Ford's official duties and campaign activities and were permitted under Nevada law. I would imagine that's true. Ford's currently under investigation, though. Now I'm getting interested. Nevada Commission on Ethics over allegations he accepted improper gifts or benefits and used his office improperly to benefit himself. Of course, I think he deserves the opportunity to see if that's adjudicated and if that's true. If you remember, Mark Lamb, sheriff, I support. I like him he's running for Congress here in the state of Arizona. And he was accused of improprieties, which I called, I called right away to find out, does this thing have legs? Greg Wilkinson's a friend of his, and absolutely not. And it'll all be dismissed. And it was all dismissed. Doesn't matter. They keep pushing it. So I don't know if this guy did something or not. It's worth looking at. But we need to pray for Nevada. We don't want Vegas to shut down. We enjoy going there occasionally. We do. But it's terrible to see these people come in and destroy a state. It is. And I don't think Hobbs has done anything good for Arizona. And the reason she hasn't done a disaster is because we've got a Republican legislature in there that just refuses to let it happen. They still control a lot of the purse, and they've got safeguards. Otherwise, ESA would already be destroyed. School choice, and we're a model that's envied in the country by many states that would like to copy it. We've probably got the best ESA program going. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, Jesse. Good morning. Hey, how are you doing?
We're doing well. Good morning, Jesse.
Hey, I know I'm not a Pollyanna, and I know that nothing worth fighting for in life is easy.
No.
We had to fight.
Yep.
And we believe in rugged individualism. We're all American here. We understand that. But in Yuma, being a resident of Yuma, we kind of were spoiled for decades. Elections were easy. But now, with the advent of the Democrat Socialists of America and the internet, I mean, a businessman would think twice. I think a businessman would think twice before going into public service.
Agreed. It's a whole nother level. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And look at what our mayor went through.
Yeah.
So every accusation is treated like in America, there's a tradition of innocent until proven guilty, but there's almost a lynch mob mentality in the campaign, a lynch mob mentality that has no account. They talk about accountability, but you could say anything about anybody,
Yep.
and there's no accountability.
Unfortunately, and it's
That's
dangerous.
the
It's
nature
gotten
of
to
the
the it's
campaign.
gotten to the point of dangerous. I mean, to where
Yeah. Yes.
people are getting killed. It's not good.
Yes. Yeah, that's not good. I didn't want to say that. I'm glad you brought it up. Remember during Michelle Peña's campaign, the South County people trying to take her out, and the Tucson people. I always thought they were deep state, Democrat Socialists of America, but they spent almost $1 million calling them a subhuman form of life, subhuman form of life.
It was miserably horrible, and she's so tough. She trudged through it, man. But man,
and our mayor did too. And so I think all Republicans have to take note that when you run for office, you're going to be treated as a subhuman from these communists.
Yeah. You got to expect it. You do. There's a lot of hate out there. Unfortunately.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
Talk to you later. We'll keep up the good fight.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah, there's a ton, unfortunately, it's a rough business. I love it though. I do, because I think it's a good fight. I think it's the right reasons. I think we care about our country. I think we've got to. And I think it can be handled, and God bless Derek Agabert for putting his neck out, running with this big business going on here, Mortgage One, and doing the radio station and putting his money into that and all. And it's for the community. It's 100% for the community. This wasn't a get rich scheme by Derek. It's not even in his wheelhouse to run a, and he doesn't have time for it. The radio station. So he's asking for help and getting it. He's getting some help and stuff, and we're going to do it. And I have such respect for that. Like someone like Donald Trump that's running not to get rich. In fact, he took hits after he got elected. People boycotting, Teslas. Look at Elon Musk. Boycotting Tesla, boycotting Trump. I said boycott, and I jumped ahead. Elon Musk, they boycotted Teslas because he helped with finding fraud, and he was demonized. Politics is horribly cutthroat, and we just need to understand it going in. And be big about it. I think it can be rewarding. I think it can be wonderful. I know politicians that love what they do, in spite of some of that they see more good than they see negative. They do. And there's some that get into it because they want to fight and be stupid. And I have no use for those. It's about helping, taking care of the country. And we got so many good people. And I think Andy Biggs is one of those. Andy Biggs wants to do the right thing. That's all I see from him. He's not building a resume. Nick Cupper, amazingly the same, and Michael Carbone and Tim Dunn. Tim Dunn's running a farming business, and for him to be the Senator Tim Dunn, to do all that, it's not filling his pockets. I mean, he's getting a lot of I think joy out of helping his community, helping his industry, and helping the farming industry and stuff. It's a sacrifice, though, man. He's paying a price for it. He's not reaping benefits. Same with Trump. You think, Trump could have gone anywhere, done anything, and not put up with any of these headaches and stuff. He does it for country, and great respect for politicians. I know people, a lot of them hate all politicians and all politicians bad. That's not what I see. I mean, I do see some negatives. I see some stuff that's terrible. I could name a few. I'm not going to. We're not going to name them. But they're by and large, it's people that are giving and giving back, and that's a good thing. I want to talk about Sunny Houston. Houston? Is it Houston? Sunny Houston. She's on The View, which I find interesting, The View, because it's so outrageous. things they say, things they do is so outrageous. It's kind of interesting to see it. I seriously think they should be pulled off the air. I mean, I think they're horrible. But that's up to the organizations. As far as the FCC goes, I think they're interested in looking at them because they seem to be they don't seem to have a lot of opposing viewpoints or full what I call full story view. They very very one sided, but that's a dangerous thing. I hate to see government get involved. I do. I think the owners of the station should get involved and say change it up. Bring some balance in there or something. Well, Sonny Houston's a former federal prosecutor. And we know this because she went and told the officers that after they stopped her Harvard-educated son. I like that when they say Harvard-educated son. I talk about my son occasionally, and I never say Air Force Academy-educated son. But that's Harvard-educated son. I guess that's a title or something. I mean, is that on a business card or something? Well, apparently he trespassed on the Metro North Railroad property. And he was found on, there's a body camera that was released that shows Sonny Houston, I guess, urging officers, cut him a break. I don't know what I would do as a dad if the same thing happened. I mean, I would probably go out and talk, but I've had my daughter ask me after she got pulled over for speeding, like excessive speeding, and told me the cop was rude. She said, "Daddy, I want you to go talk to him. He was rude to me." And she was crying, she was showing me tears. And I said, "Well, what'd you do, baby?" And she told me, and she was speeding and all that stuff. The officer reminded her that he was going fast enough. I could put you in handcuffs and take you in. True. You go a certain speed over. He was 20 mile an hour or something. Yeah. And my little baby girl was doing that. I did find the police officer and talked to him. He's a motorcycle cop. And it's just by chance I bumped into him. And I said, "Oh my God, he's right here." And I said, "By any chance you pull over a pink Volkswagen?" And of course, he didn't volunteer that information. He said, "Why do you want to know?" I said, "Well, that's my daughter." And she told me about it. And she says you were rude and I should talk to you. And I'm glad I got the opportunity. And I just want to let you know, if she's caught speeding again, pull her over, please, and keep her safe. I appreciate what you do. I'll handle the baby girl, and I appreciate you waking her up and letting her know the seriousness of that offense. That was it. I don't think that's what Sonny Houston would say. In fact, she didn't. In fact, here's what she says: "My name is Sonny Houston. I'm one of the co-hosts of The View, and I'm a former federal prosecutor." And that's how she introduces herself to the officer. Now, over the phone, I guess it was over the phone, but it could be heard in his body cam. His body cam recorded it. "That's my son. He's a Harvard graduate. He doesn't have a criminal record. He's not a kid who is ever in trouble. It's an innocent mistake." I said, I wouldn't do it that way. I wouldn't do it. I'm a little different. In fact, my son, who is an Air Force Academy grad, when he was in high school, before he was ever got that notoriety, he was noteworthy of being just a brilliant student, particularly at math, particularly just brilliant math. Real top student. And he was at Yuma High. And I get a call one day from a teacher. And it went to my recording. I didn't answer it. It went to a recording. And she explained who she was and what the problem was. And the problem was that my son was caught cheating on a math test. And she was going to take him over, and he was flippant about it and stuff like that. So I found that interesting because I know the boy doesn't have to cheat on a math test. And he does have his dad's humor at times and probably misplaced it or something in the wrong place. So I called him back. I called her back, and it went to her recording. And I left the recording on there that I'm the dad. And if my son's caught cheating, I think you should punish him severely, as I will when he gets home. And if there's some remarks made that is disrespectful to a teacher, I don't condone it. And I'm going to have some serious talks with him about that. And I would like to know more. That was it. She called back, and I'd actually talked to her, and she couldn't apologize fast enough. What my son had done is he'd answered all the questions on a complex math test without any work. They get to write their work on there, like, the long math and all that, and they write down all their work. He didn't need to. He did it all in his head. So she was adamant he was cheating, that he had the answers, because nobody can do it in their head. So she gave him the test again after class and said, "Do your work on the side." And he ripped right through it, did it all, and handed it right back to her. And she realized the mistake. And I don't know. And he was flippant, because when he asked, she said, "Where's your work?" He says, "I don't need it. It's not that hard," and everything. And she thought he was being sarcastic and flippant. No, he was being serious. She called to apologize. You don't have to go stand up for them. The kids, the people who figured out, respect authority, which I did on the teacher. I thought it was hilarious. The boy's not going to cheat, man. I don't worry about it. Go ahead, smack him if he's cheating. I don't, I would. And it was hilarious. She backed way off. She did the right thing, because my son was doing the right thing. So this Gabriel Houston, it wasn't a serious offense. He was stopped by Metropolitan Transport Authority after about 8 o'clock at night, June 16th. The officer observed him on the Metro North Railroad right away in the New Rochelle station. Signs in areas, no trespassing signs. It's marked. And the police spokesperson said the 23-year-old was observed running near an electrified rail. An electrified third rail. Now, that's like 440 volts or something. That's like instant death can be. It's not it's nothing you want to play around with. Hence the no trespassing, no get out of there. We don't want liability for all that kind of stuff. And they did a criminal background. He had none. He was clean. Why does she have to go on with about the Harvard grad and who she is? That's just crazy. Mad Mike, how are you, sir?
Good.
Good.
Sorry for the beeping head.
Yeah, man.
And to buckle up there.
I'm glad you are. I want you safe.
Yeah, well, I'm of the mindset that get in, get moving, then get buckled up.
I do that.
I may get myself a ticket one day for that.
Well, huh? I do that out of habit, and my wife looks at it with great concern. She would prefer I don't.
Sure.
Yeah, I know.
Sure. The lovely ladies are probably much.
I listen to her though.
Very good. I don't. I do on occasion. You gotta take one for the team every now and then.
All right.
Well, now you got me stirred up again.
Go ahead.
So you're advocating censorship now? You want her off the air? I believe it's pronounced Hostin. Sonny Hostin is the way I've heard it.
Yes, I absolutely do. But I also put a caveat on that. It's not up to the government. I don't want the government involved. I think the owner should realize that they've got a real loser there and should just get rid of it. So yeah, I'd like her off the air for that reason. But yeah.
But the problem is, Russ, is their audience. All these leftists, I won't call them liberal because there's nothing liberal about them. All these left-wing lunatic ladies, many of them single, sitting at home, or if they're married, while they're doing their chores, they're watching and listening to The View, and it has its audience.
Yep.
It's a moneymaker. It's got to be.
I don't think so, but I'll have to check. But they kept a lot of these late night guys on that were losing millions of dollars.
They
millions.
kept them on until it got cost prohibitive.
Well, it went way too long. It was cost prohibitive for years. But they have an agenda. They want to be leftists, So, but that's up to them. That's up to them.
The left has their thumb on the scales, and they will. Communism pushes its agenda with whatever means necessary. We've let them take over sports in some ways, Hollywood, obviously, and a lot of the social interaction we have is owned by the left, and that's too bad.
Well, I checked it real quick, and the View does make money. I'll be darned. And Sunny hosted. She earned between 1.6 and 2 million per year as a co-host. Why can't I co-host that? I want to go co-host that.
You should talk to J.D. Vance. He went on there. There's a few conservatives that have gone on as guests and gotten butchered and tore up. But they've also thrown some good punches back.
Oh, Vance didn't get hurt, man. He went in with a smile. He don't care. Whoopi makes 8 million a year. Joey Behar makes 7 million a year. Wow.
Yeah.
Now
that's how much money that damn show brings in.
One of the Griffin that's supposed to be the Republican, she makes $250,000.
Yeah, she's the token. She's the token.
Oh wow, how insulting! Yeah,
she's not the draw.
No. In fact, none of the libs tune in for her, do they?
Oh no, not at all. But they might tune in when the other hosts are arguing with her.
She's not very much a conservative, though, man. She's.
Whoops, my other phone. No, not at all. Switched on. There we go. Anyways, I done with my running around for the day. I go get my shower and go sell another car. We've done 4 cars in the last 5 business days.
Wow.
Good out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of happy customers.
Hope so. I think so. We've gotten some to a first-time buyer who's only been in the United States for 4 months. 3 months now, actually. 4 years she's been working at for the aduana, the government in Mexico, and a temp agency got her on. But we were able to get her financed on her first car, and another sweet lady who put a couple $100,000 on her Dodge minivan she bought from us a while ago came in and traded that in towards a Toyota Sienna. And we've had a couple other cars go out recently. We're happy out there. We're doing good and serving our market,
Well, I like those small businesses. Keep going, man.
Will do.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
Talk to you later.
Bye-bye. Out was Mad Mike. Getting back to Sonny's son, Gabriel. Well, the police officer saw that he didn't have any kind of criminal background. He escorted him out of the area because it's dangerous out there. This electrified third rail and all that stuff. And he said, and Gabriel asked him if, asked the officer whether in issuing the summons was necessary. And the officer says, because it's an arrestable offense, I want to make that clear. We're dimming it down to a trespass violation because you were in the right of way. And explains that his lack of criminal history is all taken down. We know you're not a criminal or anything like that, but our hands are tied with cameras everywhere. I mean, it's a dangerous place to be. But Houston is urging at the same time, and she's on the phone listening and talking to the officer at the same time. He's a Harvard grad who teaches 4th grade geometry to South Bronx kids. He's not a kid who's ever been in trouble. He's an innocent mistake. It's a trespassing. I mean, I don't think it's serious. But to say, he's got a famous mom and he's Harvard educated and he teaches kids in the South Bronx. I don't know what that's got to do with it, but I guess that's what she feels she needs to do. He was on the active railroad right away in violation of the posted no trespassing signs. And the record includes all the pictures of the signs and all that. So I guess when they go to court and everything, but I don't know what it is. It's just a misdemeanor fine, I guess. Houston said he mistakenly entered the property. He was jogging and he spotted what appeared to be a gravel incline, which was suitable for hill trains. So he was trying to get some reps in going uphill, and the entrance gate was open, and that the only no trespassing sign was attached to the left gate, not visible when he entered. So I think he's got to, if he wants to go to the judge and say, look, dude, mistake. But I think having the mom on the phone, I don't think that helps, does it? To have a mom say I'm famous and I make a lot of money and all that. Now, Libs of TikTok got a hold of this and they put it out there that Houston's past remarks No one's above the law. Which she said a lot about Trump. No one's above the law when Trump was being, attacked for like crimes that were made up or something. No one's above the law. And I'm a federal prosecutor and all that kind of stuff, making fun of her. Good. She's doing what, I think she's doing what's more common amongst parents. I'm a little different. You're going to arrest him, do it. I'll visit him in jail. That's fine. But he never would have been arrested. My son wasn't going to cheat on a math test. My daughter was going to speed, though. I guarantee you that. That little girl. And she should be nailed a few times, That's fine. I'll visit her. I had John Minori take care of it, and the lawyer friend of mine, represented her in court and got it down to something else. But hopefully she learned some lessons, and she had to pay some fines and stuff like that. Hopefully she did. No, I'm not convinced completely, but maybe. Hey, Obama is in the picture again. Obama is out talking a little bit. Before I talk about Obama, Sally asked me, what about the judges in Yuma County? Let me go through those. And there were some judges. Gregory Stewart. He was only one running, so he only got 325 votes. Richard Mendez, Justice of the Peace for Precinct 2, 652. So he won. Okay, here's the one that was contested. Jorge Gonzalez got 1,969. Carly Sandoval, 4,083. So it would be Carly won the judge. Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1. As far as clerk of the Superior Court, and this was terrible because I like them both. Malba Alvarez, good friend, and Bobby Joe Daly. I don't know her, met her, but I nothing but good things. Malba lost pretty big. She got 2,200 votes, and Bobby Joe got 63. But both great people. I like Malba a ton. She just did a great thing working with the Trump thing. Or what? Yeah, she was Trump, not Turning Point. Let me see the other constable, Arthur Gordias. He was only one running. He won. Constable Precinct 2. Nobody ran, but there were some write-ins. I don't know if they counted. I don't know. Constable Precinct 3. Nobody ran. 25 write-ins. To write in a name, you have to pre-register, and they generally know who you are. But and the others were, let me see, Judges Superior Court. Erin Farrar's the only one running. She won. Judge Superior Court Division 3. Write-ins only. There was nobody running. I was unaware. John Lasser, Superior Court Division 5, 75 for only one running. So that was it for all the courts, I think. Let me check the back here. Yeah, there's none of those. Yeah, I skipped that. Thank you, Sally, for mentioning that, because I missed some of the other stuff on the clerk and stuff. And I was really interested in that Bobby Joe and Melba thing. I was. I feel bad that one of them didn't make it. See, Gilbert just called me and I missed it. I wasn't paying attention. Let me call him back real quick.
Hey, Russ.
What's up, man?
Hey, I want to know, did that kid call his mommy, and that's how she got involved?
Yep.
That kid, a Harvard graduate.
Yep.
What, at least 25 years old?
23.
23 years old. Well, he graduated pretty good at 23 from Harvard.
Yeah.
He must excel. But he called his mommy.
Called his mommy and said, "Here, officer, talk to my mommy."
Wow.
That's embarrassing.
Wow.
He's going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a Democrat for you. Oh.
Wow. That's embarrassing.
And what should be embarrassing when they bring it out on the View. Well, I was protecting my son.
I think it's very, very likely he made a mistake and didn't notice. He saw a hill he wanted to run. No big deal. But it's trespass. The cops don't have a lot of choice. He says it's on cameras, and we're not going to charge you with the crime. We're just going to give you a no trespass thing and go tell the judge.
Yeah.
Judge would probably throw it out, but
Well, he got his 15 minutes of fame. Now,
it's not the way to get it, man.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Well,
Yeah.
any type of fame, with the Hollywood guys. But now he has to face his students,
Yes,
the parents of the students.
says, yeah, if you get in trouble, don't call your mommy. She can't help.
Yeah. What? When I got in trouble, my dad told me these words. You got yourself into that. You should have known better. Now you get yourself out of it.
Good for him.
Because
if our kids don't pay consequences, then they really get in trouble. I've talked to parents in the past that, their sons or daughters doing something really horrible, and I don't want to get them in trouble, so they'll lie for them. And
right,
I'm like, oh my gosh, what lessons learned here? And as far as you didn't get them in trouble. You got them thinking they can beat the system now. Now what's going to happen? Well, we know what's going to happen, man. The kids do not right themselves. They become worse.
Exactly. I was a baseball coach, little league coach for many years. Yeah. And you see some of these kids that are spoiled rotten at home. Mm-hmm. And if they don't get their way on the field, they act out.
The parents probably come get in your face like, why don't you put him in more and stuff, probably.
No,
they didn't do that. Okay, good.
Well, one person tried it, and other parents saw how I interacted.
Yeah.
I didn't yell or anything. I just said, well, you know what? You can find yourself another coach.
Yeah. Here's the whistle. Have at it, bud.
Yeah, have at it. But, for him to call his mommy.
Yeah.
He must have got away with a lot of stuff in the household.
Maybe. Well, and there's that whole victim thing. She thinks because she's black, maybe, because she's mentioned, I don't know if being black's really hard. And so, and I've never been black. I can't judge it, but I just think that victim thing is just getting old for me.
You know what? At one time, they had the cause. Yeah. They did. At one time. But things changed for a long time until Obama came into office. And he brought that mentality back. But there's a lot of minorities out there that are doing great things for themselves.
Oh, yeah. Taking advantage of opportunity. And sometimes that's all we need is you just put the opportunity out there. You don't have to give them results. They'll get the results if you give them opportunity.
One of the biggest things that I see that's a crime against the American citizens, and it's up to us. All these KYMA brought out a thing about that illegal alien that got shot by the ICE agent.
Uh-huh.
They brought out, how do you feel about this? Well, I text back and I said, well, how about all the 1,500 Americans that have been killed by illegal aliens? Why don't you put their faces out there? Why don't you put their names out there?
Right. You're exactly right.
Treat the situation both. But did they answer me? No, they didn't.
No, and you notice they'll all scream about due process, due process. You can't deport somebody without due process, which they do due process. But if an ICE agents are in trouble like that, no due process, hang them, fire them, get rid of them. They don't do due process.
But, we as American citizens should be screaming and shouting to these outlets. Well, how come you're not putting out the victims' names out there? Why do you just put the illegal aliens name out there?
Because
Then you
it's
had that De La Hoya that had this thing. I forgot what street he was on,
mhm,
and he was proud of himself that he's sticking up for this illegal alien that got killed.
right.
Why didn't he mention all the Americans that got killed? He was proud of himself, standing up for this illegal alien here in Yuma.
Well, and yes, there's a lot of that going on where media is pushing. But the list of
Mhm.
the people that have been killed by illegal aliens is so long they can't possibly publish it all. But
But they could post 20 here, 20 there,
yeah, we could
20
do
here,
that.
20 there. Oh, they can.
I'm,
Don't
I'm
make excuses for them, Russ.
I'm not. I'm just saying it's long. It's a long list. It's terribly long.
Yeah. But what you said, I missed what you said. The list is really long. I don't think they can do that.
Yeah, that was a sarcasm. But they don't want to.
Oh,
They don't want to
okay.
mention it.
Good
But
cover up.
but you
Good cover
saw.
up.
Well, it is. I mean, I think it's horrific that they just protect illegal aliens at all costs, and our citizens that get killed they get no mention at all.
Right.
I mentioned yesterday. I talked about yesterday about the voting training they were doing down in Tucson
Mm-hmm.
to look for ICE agents, and they put on the
Yeah.
table during their training the two recent ones that were killed by ICE agents. The ones that were in the car. The ICE agents say the car was attacking them. It was coming at them.
Yeah.
There was no video of it. I don't know, but they're worth their day in court. Whatever.
I just saw something the other day. I don't know if it's true or not because it was on Facebook, but they said ICE agents will be in Sturgis. Really? Okay.
So.
So
Yeah. So, well, and they're all worried about ICE agents being at the polling places. They don't want ICE agents at the polling places because it makes people scared. I said, why would people be scared of ICE agents?
yeah, exactly.
And does that mean
If
an
you
ICE
ain't
agent
doing
can't
nothing
vote
wrong,
unless he takes his uniform off?
yeah, I was asked, well, what if a ICE agent came up to you and asked you for your ID? I said, well, take my fingerprints, then you'll know who I am.
I'd say, yeah,
That's it.
whatever. I wish they would ask me for I'd show them probably. Well, I would. I,
Sure. Oh, sure.
but maybe I wouldn't. It depended on the mood. I was on the border the other day, and I was taking somebody on the border, and one of the patrol, and this was during Biden when Biden was in, and ICE agent or not an ICE agent, border patrol agent came up and says, "You got any ID?" And I said, "Yeah, I sure do." I never pulled it out. I just I just let him know I had one.
Yeah.
I mean, why would he ask me for my ID? What the hell, man? I'm not hiding anything. I just thought it was hilarious. Another border agent walked up that knew me and said, "Hey, Russ, what are you doing out here?" That stuff. I didn't look
Shoot,
like I didn't look like I just came across the border, buddy. I mean, I drove up in a car,
I might even recite the preamble for the border patrol or the ICE agent.
Yeah, you would be ahead of me. I can't do that.
Anyway, I
see,
want to know if that kid called his mommy while he was being arrested.
Called his
That was
mommy,
his one
buddy.
first call, huh?
Yeah.
Was that his one first phone call that he was allowed to have?
I don't know, but I don't know how the officers all react to that. I mean, you see it on YouTube occasionally. I'll watch something like a drunk driver get pulled over and they'll make a phone call, and quite often the officer says, "Ma'am, you should put the phone down," and do that, and they don't. They get on the phone, a little bit. I mean, the officers have great patience with some of that crap.
Yeah. She would got more credibility for herself if she would have told him, "You're on your own, son."
Yeah, we'll sort this thing out, man. Especially with him now having a criminal, but I think the left and maybe Sonny the same way thinks, oh my God, he's black and it's an officer. They'll probably accuse him of all kinds of stuff he didn't do or something. I don't know. I mean, I think these people, hype up these situations.
Yeah. Oh, he could have gotten shot too.
Yeah, right. Anything's possible. We hope never that something like that. And I think there's bad cops occasionally, but that would be tremendously rare. And I don't think so.
All right, Russ, I'll
Thank
let
you, buddy.
go, man.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I don't think so. Let me see. I missed a call, so I'll call Mike Dovey back. Let me see. Because I had to hang up on him because I had Gilbert on the phone. But that's okay. I don't have a second line. Hey, Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, sir.
You're on the air, buddy. What's up?
Wait, I gotta turn this off. Oh, there it is. Okay. I've got something to say that nobody's going to like to hear,
Uh-oh.
that everybody should hear.
Okay.
Okay. If you vote Democrat, you hate your grandchildren. You just may as well, if you vote Democrat, you may just take your grandchildren to the highway and throw them into traffic. Because I'll tell
Okay.
you what, and again, I am against you 100%. The reason why socialism won in New York City and socialism won in the 7th district is because the Republican Party laid down and didn't do a damn thing. They didn't use their money to campaign against socialism, and socialism is there. Well, what happens when socialism comes into a state?
What? I don't know. You tell me.
Businesses leave.
Yes, they do. They're doing it in New York right
Okay.
now.
They're doing it in California. They're doing it in New York, right?
Right.
And they're doing it in Minnesota.
Mhm.
Businesses leave.
Yeah.
So, if you have a job that is, first of all, the rich people make jobs that help you pay your rent. If there's one thing that the rich people do, they make jobs for people,
Right.
and you're going to lose that job if socialism comes to this state. Now, they've infiltrated the things that I watch. I watch completely, totally conservative platforms, and their damn commercials interrupt my programming. I don't see Republicans making the type of aggressive commercials that they are. Gary Goldwater ran against LBJ.
Right.
When he got the presidency after they blew JFK's head off, and he had to run for president the next time. Barry Goldwater ran against him, and that was during the height of the nuclear arms race, where all these people that are in power right now were the hippies back then who were protesting the nuclear reactors, 3 Mile Island, and the fact that the world was going to come to an end. And they're all calling for nuclear war right now.
Mhm.
But Barry Goldwater ran against Lyndon Johnson, and he was beating Lyndon Johnson until Lyndon Johnson ran this one commercial over and over and over and over again.
I don't think
And
he
you remember
ran
what
it
that
that
commercial
much,
was?
but it didn't have to, man. It was well noted.
You remember what that commercial was?
A little girl with a nuclear bomb going off.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Right.
And the Republicans never answered that. The Republican Party never answered that. And they're
Yeah.
doing it now. New York and 7th District should have been a slam dunk if you would have attacked socialism with the money that they have. And they didn't. And here we are. Now we are in a timed fight. If you vote Democrat, same thing. People say, I have friends who are Democrats. Oh, you're such a good person, Russ.
Well,
You're such a good person.
I'm going to
Russ.
continue to do that. I'm going to continue to talk to people, buddy.
Good for you.
I don't
Good for
care.
you.
All right.
I'm sorry, but I'm thinking about your grandchildren.
Right. Me too.
Democrats hate your grandchildren.
I don't believe that, but I understand you're telling me that what they stand for could damage my grandchildren. I do. I don't believe they.
Mean you don't believe
I
that?
believe the Democrats are naive. I don't believe they know that the damage they're going to do. I don't believe it. I think they're naive. They don't understand. I don't think it's an education, and we need to educate them, and that's why we need to talk to people. We need to.
And Gilbert just made a comment about we were talking about the racism.
Yeah.
Listen. There was never any racism except in the South. The racism that there was produced by the Democrat Party. They needed to have racism. One of the things we have going for us, because the Republicans aren't doing nothing to push against these people, we have the black population who hate Democrats now, and that's a powerful thing because they know they've been duped. They know they've been duped since the 1960s when LBJ said we'll have those. And I wish I could say it, and I don't know why we can't say that word anymore.
Say what? Don't tell me. I don't know. What are you trying to say?
I can't. The N word.
Oh gosh, no, that's been classified.
We'll have those N words voting for us for the next 200 years.
I don't even like saying N word. No, don't say that. But he did say that. LBJ. I mean, was LBJ said that?
Yes, sir, he did.
Yes,
and
he did.
He said that in front of Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Oh, there's been a lot of Democrat races. So Wilson was a horrible racist. He got rid of all the blacks that worked in the White House. He didn't want them in the White House.
They exalted Robert Byrd, and he killed a lot of black people. You got to kill a lot of black people to be a Cyclops.
I have no idea about that, or if there was any.
Ask your friend Eddie or Greg, Edward. Whoever does your fact check. Edward.
All right.
You got to kill a lot of black people to be a Cyclops.
And
that's the same thing with that tattoo of that creep in Maine.
All right.
He doesn't even know what the depth of that tattoo, or maybe he did.
He did know, according to testimony from some of his ex-girlfriends, that he bragged about it.
No, he bragged, but I'm saying he did not know the depth of that tattoo, because that tattoo was worn by the guards who were inside concentration camps who killed Jews. You couldn't get that tattoo unless you killed a Jew.
Oh, well.
Look that up.
Right, that possibly true. That was during the Nazism. That was terrible.
That is the tattoo. He didn't have two lightning bolts. He had that tattoo.
That was a prison type Nazi thing.
Correct. And I said, it was the SS and the prison guards who, because they killed a Jew with their bare hands, were able to win that tattoo. Yeah. It's like the AOYs. It's like the Nazi cross. You had to do something to get those. And so, but what I'm saying is that, did you see the debate?
Which ones?
Of the four state of Maine Democrats?
I saw bits and pieces of it. It was a joke.
No. It wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
Because the Democrats are serious as a heart attack.
Oh, I know. I look at it like a joke, though.
You call them a joke. They are serious. Look at that moron of a man.
Yeah.
Who's putting himself off as a woman.
Yeah.
And the Democrats are saying that guy is viable to hold a congressional position. Did you hear that moron talk?
But
Did you hear what he had?
His dress had nothing to do with his ability to be stupid. He couldn't answer a serious question. That guy had no concept of life. I don't think.
So how is he even allowed to get that far?
Because he's a registered Democrat, I guess. I don't know.
Because he's a Democrat and that should be the campaign for Democrats hate your children. Right there.
No, I think that's a wrong move. Mike, I disagree wholeheartedly. I don't think that's the way we start with things. I don't think we push hate with hate. I don't.
You know what? I do agree with you, sir. But this is a unique time we're living in.
I know it's
all
unique.
Things being equal, you are correct. But this is if we lose this, we have 3 more months.
Mm-hmm.
If we lose this midterm election, it's over.
Look, Andy Biggs did a great job of getting 76% of the vote and all that stuff. And he never pushed hate. And as soon as he got the microphone, he pushed everything opposite of that on the work we've got to do. And we've got to come together and we've got to support, all those and during this campaign fight and all that kind of stuff. That's the people I want to support. That's the people I want to get behind. I don't want to get somebody up there that says, well, we need to, do something to this guy. He's terrible. We need to beat him up or something. I don't want.
Well, you have Megyn Kelly saying that Andy Biggs may not win the election.
So what? I don't care what Megyn Kelly
But-
says.
But sir, you have to understand. When I say I hate her, I hate her bones.
I don't hate.
But all of a
anybody.
sudden,
Yeah.
she crucified Trump, and then all of a sudden she came back, and everybody said, "Okay, she's the girl again." And here she is saying that crap right now.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely took another turn, I don't know why. I think she's a good commentator. She's smart, and then she just does stupid for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Andy, but what they're saying, what Megyn Kelly was saying, and again, they promote the Democrat narrative. He was saying that Andy Biggs is not going to win because he said something against McCain. And the Republican Party in Arizona is divided by McCain Republicans and non-McCain Republicans.
Not true.
Is that true?
No,
I understand.
but not
That's
true.
what she said.
McCain's wife, though, is a Democrat, and McCain's ex-wife, Cindy, is supporting Katie Hobbs. Has nothing to do with Biggs. She supports Katie Hobbs. Period. So what? And she's
I'm
made a
saying,
choice. That's fine.
coming from Megyn Kelly.
I know, and she's reading into it something that's
said-
not there.
And the McCain thing is directed at the independents, because don't you know independents win elections?
Of course they help. I mean, it's everybody, but yeah, of course they're important. They're an important part of it. But I think it's great that the Cindy McCain thing came completely transparent, and that she's just a supporter of Hobbs, and that's fine. She's got her choice to do that, and I think that helps a lot. In that she's not a Republican supporting Hobbs; she's just a Democrat. No big deal. And
Go ahead, I'm
I
sorry.
believe what I mean, but I like Andy Biggs a lot, and I'm interested in that Firebrand name. I think sometimes people put the name Firebrand because they want to put it as a negative or something.
Sure.
Which I think is a
Andy-
lot better than some of Trump's names. like Low IQ or Lazy or Sleepy Joe. Firebrand's okay. I'm gonna take it.
That's coming. Now that they know who's running against the person who has a low IQ.
I think
But,
they already knew. They knew Andy was always a hit, but
Andy,
he won bigger than his polls numbers showed he would.
Andy Biggs' reputation preceded him.
His reputation.
All those guys,
Mhm.
huh? What?
His reputation is that of a fighter, man. His reputation.
Yes, that's why he won, because he proved in Congress that he was the man. It's the same thing like another man in Arizona that's not getting any voice is Elon Crane.
Elijah.
You
Oh no,
know?
Elon Crane. Crane's a great guy. I like him, and he's won twice
Absolutely.
in a very hard
Absolutely.
district.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
but I feel like I have to restate. I am for Andy Biggs, and Andy Biggs' reputation preceded him. That's why he's so popular in the Republican Party. But they're trying to peel him by associating him with the McCain thing. The Democrats are,
Yeah.
because the Democrats got so much mileage out of weak Republicans with the Crane thing, with Kerry Lake for governor and Kerry Lake for Senate.
Right. But I think Biggs is handling it smart though, buddy. I think Kerry I think Kerry Lake
You don't
handled
have
it
to-
wrong.
You don't have to defend Biggs with me. I'm all for him.
Okay.
You don't have to defend him. I mean, do I sound like I'm against?
But if he came out and said some of the same things you said today about hating Democrats and they're trying to kill your children or something, he would lose the governor's race. No one's going to buy into that.
I am talking about I'm talking about the RNC and the GOP, not this. The RNC and the GOP. You remember who Lee Atwater was?
Yeah.
Okay, Lee Atwater. He was the momentum for conservatism and Republicans. He wasn't. He was. Lee Atwater bashed down the campaigning that LBJ did. So Lee Atwater was making a broad brush campaign, not just for specific individuals. That's the job of the RNC and the GOP, and they are quiet. They can make that. They can make that commercial. They can make those commercials that do go on direct dog attack. And that's what Lee Atwater did.
I looked up that commercial, the Daisy commercial. It actually aired one time. That was it. One time. It never aired.
I think that's wrong.
That's right.
I think that I lived through it.
I did.
I saw it every day.
It wasn't aired by somebody. Maybe it played it because they thought it was out, wanted to show it to you, but it aired. Look it up. It aired.
There was nothing like it. We had the three channels at night before the nightly news and before the 10 o'clock news. Are you kidding me? That played every day. That's wrong.
Well,
your source is wrong.
The reason I looked it up is because I remember it being said that it played one time. That's the reason I even looked it up. But
sir, I saw that dozens of times.
Okay,
I saw that dozens. That was at a time when they had us hiding under desks. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. We had to run drills all the time. And
you think that hiding under a desk was going to protect you from a nuclear bomb?
No, it just gave you something to do.
No, it made you fear. It added to the fear that the Democrats wanted us to have in order to vote for LBJ because he was going to save us. Don't you see that?
No. I think.
Okay, well,
I think we do the same exercise for tornadoes, and the whole idea was when the glass breaks and flies around, you'll be under the desk and protected from glass. It wasn't going to protect you from a nuclear blast, but maybe if you were, miles away and it just broke the glass, you'd be protected from glass cuts. That's about it. It was ridiculous, but that's what we did.
Do you think we should be in Iran?
Yes.
Do you think Trump should have did what he did?
Yes.
You're absolutely GD right. Because you can imagine if Iran had a nuclear bomb, do you think they would use it?
Yes.
Do you think that they would give a nuclear bomb to the cartels in Mexico?
No. I mean, all that's true. And I don't think the left sees it, and it's just kind of sad.
The cartels in Mexico have air defense missiles. Where are they getting those from?
Don't know.
Well, they're getting them from the Russians and Chinese who hate us, who the Democrats love.
Yeah.
Now go back and I'll say, if you think that if Iran had a nuclear bomb that they would use it, the answer is yes. You think that if they had the nuclear bomb, they would give it to the cartels? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Come on now. And that's why we're there. But Iran is just a small piece of the three-dimensional chess that this man is playing. And he's not giving anybody any intel. There are no leaks. And that's what the Democrats are upset about. Did you hear them try to run Excess and General Kane?
Yeah.
Did you hear their arguments?
That was ridiculous. But yeah.
That's the frustration because they don't have the information that because there's no leaks. But I'll tell you what, they make a big deal about the I think there's 4 soldiers that have died since this onset.
It's more than that. But yeah, I think
you put the uniform on to die, my sir.
Right. Well,
nobody puts that uniform on to go la la la. But here's the thing. You don't understand what I'm saying.
I think you put the uniform on to make sure the enemy makes or maker, not us.
Okay, you don't understand what I'm saying because you never put the uniform on. Well, but I want you to remember one thing: as you're crucifying Hegseth for those 5 people, 14 people died on leaving Afghanistan, and nobody said a goddamn word.
Wait, what? Okay. Buddy, I'm going to let you go, man. I got to get back to the news. I understand your hate and anger. You're angry.
This is the news.
Okay.
We have 3 more months.
All right.
And it comes to an end in 3 months or this thing flowers for victory.
I think there's more to it than you think.
Oh. Okay.
All right,
You have a
buddy.
good day.
Be good, man. Bye bye. That was Mr. Mike. And here's Mad Mike. Call me right back. What's up, Mad Mike?
Well, you've gone from Pollyanna to used car salesman to
Yeah.
angry Mike.
He's fairly angry today. Yeah.
Oh, a
But-
lot of the times he calls in.
But I don't think it works well. It doesn't help. It's not helpful.
No. It makes for good radio.
I don't know.
I see sometimes you get some comments below the feed there. Man, I like Mike. I know they ain't talking about Mad Mike. They're talking about Angry Mike.
Right.
But he's entertaining. And I had to look up Pollyanna. I guess I'm not as old as you, and that term, I wasn't exactly sure what it meant, but it was Clyde. No, it wasn't Clyde. Who used that term this morning?
That was just Mike that did Pollyanna. Yeah.
No. Pollyanna. They called in the Mexican businessman. It's always
Adam. Adam.
No. I keep thinking.
Jesse.
It's not Clyde. It's not Gil. Jesse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he may not be a definition Pollyanna, but he's definitely usually very positive and upbeat, and brings some positive to the show,
right,
as it were. And Angry Mike is like, he's a bit extreme. He's taking it over the top, but I get his point. The Republicans are allowing too much to go on. The conservatives are, letting the minority, we've always been known as the silent majority. Well, the minority is the communists, the socialists, which is just communism light. And he's upset. He has every right to be, and he may get some people to wake up and go vote, which is unfortunate, because usually in midterms, unless you got a big ticket, big person on the ticket, midterms don't get the turnout by Republicans that Democrats get. They sometimes get everything from city council to school seats just because they can run unopposed. And it's unfortunate. We need to be involved, and we need to oppose.
We need to, and
the communist takeover.
We need to keep talking, and we need to keep talking to people who don't necessarily agree with us. That's fine. I'm not for living in a bubble, and that's what happens, I think, with some people, our liberal friends, is they get on those websites like is it Act Blue or something, and they only hear the same nonsense. They in their bubble, and they don't realize there's a real world out there.
Very much true of the View as well. It's only one-sided.
I didn't even realize they made money, but they do. So they're going to stick around.
I told you they're only around because they do. They got all these ladies sitting at home eating their bonbons, running a vacuum real quick when they hear their husband.
If I watch it, if I've ever turned it on, it's because I like watching the train wreck. It's not.
Yeah, I've never watched it. I've seen some.
I've seen clips,
but
mostly,
I refuse to watch it.
But to think that Whoopi Goldberg gets paid $8 million to do what she does, I could do that for less.
Yeah, and look how angry she gets.
I don't think I'd get that kind of audience. So I don't.
No.
And Griffin makes $250,000, and she's not very impactful. But she's
no. And didn't they have Megan McCain on for a while?
Yeah, they did. And for a couple of years.
And I don't think she made as much as the other ladies.
She probably did. She wasn't a big draw, I don't think. But they were able to say, we have our Republican. She's the mother.
Yeah,
I'm the daughter of a senator.
Yeah, she was the token.
Whose mom is a Democrat now. Yeah,
I bet she got more than $250K.
I don't know. I was surprised that the spread that there is. I didn't know Whoopi would get $8 million a year for that show. That's kind of crazy, right?
That's the thing.
I got an 800. Well, I'm not going to take that call. I don't know what it is. 800 number. It's probably going to be a salesman. I don't want to take a salesman on air.
Yeah, it's sales call. Well,
I'll let that go.
I'm hanging up anyways. I got to get on to the lot.
Get back to work. We'll see you, buddy.
Go sell for the Rahimi brothers.
All right. Bye-bye. The Obama, I started to talk about him, and he's warning Vance right now. You know, he's still in it. So I find interesting that he really cares about Vance. I don't think he does. He was he's pushing Vance on something that, like a blood and soil vision for the country, which I didn't understand what blood and soil made. He's discussing a Reconstruction era with author Malcolm Gladwell, I guess, on a podcast or something. And Obama says, it's impossible to spend a lot of time thinking about Reconstruction without reflecting on the present day, right? Because these issues are, well, they're still there. If anybody's asking, why is it relevant to talk about Reconstruction? I have to describe for them the degree to which we're having the same arguments. The issue of how are we going to help the freed people who've been enslaved? What are we going to give them to allow them to have a good life, a go at life? And what does real freedom mean? I can't believe he's bringing that up. Slavery was ended quite a while ago, but okay. They continue to debate over voting rights after the Supreme Court ruling on race-based congressional gerrymandering, as well as Vance's political party pushing for a certain kind of people. And Vance's political party, I'm certain it's Republicans, a certain kind of people. I have no idea what that means. But the debate over voting rights is on the Supreme Court, which means you don't gerrymander according to race. That's racist. You can't do that. And that makes perfect sense to me. I don't, somehow they don't like it because it benefited the Democrat Party. Obama says we have a politics now that at least one of our major parties has been captured by politics that is not that subtle about suggesting that we the people means a certain kind of people. That's so obscene and so outside anything I would have ever even accused anybody of saying. But that when they say that we the people, was meaning all people, he's saying that we think it means a certain kind of people. How crazy! But that's what he says. He says he's just creating hate and stirring it up. When you have the current vice president, making a speech that is basically a blood and soil version of we the people. So I had to look up blood and soil, some kind of Nazi thing. Yeah. Which I would not have known without him. But he says that ethos, then ideas about who can be a citizen, who belongs, who gets to make a decision. So all these issues are still being debated, sometimes not bluntly and explicitly as they have in the past, but they're still there. So he's subtlety or what he believes is keywords. I said, but blood and soil is a Nazi Germany associated with white nationalism. Never heard the term before. Don't know what it is. But he says that's what we the people mean to people. I guess he's creating controversy that I didn't know even existed. The other person says, accused Vance of hypocrisy, and this was the Malcolm Gladwell, the author. Accused him of hypocrisy for attempting to make a nativist argument while being married to Ursula Vance. See, that bugs him. You're married to somebody that's not Caucasian, the daughter of an Indian immigrant. Now, Obama agreed. Vance was a hypocrite. Conceded that it was a process compared to a century prior. That is, listen, hypocrisy is progress. It is, because it means that you feel guilty enough to either lie to yourself or others, and that it's better than not even thinking about the idea than when you're doing something wrong. This is such drivel and crap. It's obvious that problems don't exist, and they've got to create them in their minds. They're not pointing out any problems, or they're trying to create a problem so that you can be angry with them, I guess. Here's what when Vance was talking about the 250th birthday on July 4th in New York, that's what they're picking apart is his speech, part of his speech. And I'm going to read it to you. You say if it's I remember him saying it. I didn't think anything negative about it. Like Obama and this Malcolm Gladwell look at that as as a white supremacist. He said, so what I'd like to ask you, my fellow Americans, on our 250th birthday is to reject the two-dimensional view of your fellow citizens and reject the two-dimensional view of your country. Reject that America is a place for zero-sum thinking, because it's not. Our history is one of people craving carving a great civilization out of the wilderness. Reject the view of your nation that sees only its sins, but not its grace and its greatness. Everything that we've done as a country, we have done it together, not as citizens divided against each other, but as a common people working towards a common future. Now, Obama saw that as divisive. Malcolm Gladwell saw it as divisive. I don't know what to say to them. I mean, how could you think that was anything but supportive of the entire nation and wanting to come together? And that we have something in common. And he is a guy that married somebody which is, so what? I care less about race than you do. And I know that's supposed to be racist to not care about race, but it's just ridiculous. Obama, avoided discussing advance directly, I guess, in these comments. He took a subtle swipe during a 24 election and all that, but when he was running against Tim Walz said, when a presidential candidate chooses a running mate, it says a lot about who they are and what kind of president they'll be. Do they pick someone inexperienced and polarizing who will deepen our divisions? Or do they pick someone with a judgment to make tough decisions and the character to believe that every voice counts and everyone deserves an equal chance? That was an Obama comment. It says it's supposed to be directed advance of not being experienced and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know if they was reading into that either. I don't know. But for them to come up for blood and soil type comments, that there's white supremacy of some kind, is such a stretch to create hate, white nationalism. It's kind of crazy. If it does exist, I don't know where, but I'm sure it's somewhere. I don't know where to find it. Maybe out the woods in Utah somewhere, but it's not. I don't think anybody runs on it. It's kind of crazy. It's like the left has got to create it, in order to, I guess, get people spooled up. I think Mike tries to spool people up with that kind of hate, and he's not a Democrat by any means, but he does. I don't, and I'm going to. I'm not. And I applaud Andy Biggs the way he took the mic afterwards and asked for unity and asked for people to come together. I think that's what wins things. I think there's a real trend. You can see how many people have run from the Democrat Party in the last decade, even last 5 years. It's been a steady trickle in the state of Arizona too, statewide, countywide. Because of the hate and the stupid stuff that goes on in the Democrat Party and the victimization, everybody's a victim and all that, and we go on with it. It has driven people out of the Democrat Party, and I think that's the nature of things. As far as Trump flexing his muscle, that was an article I read about Arizona. He was very successful. He obviously supported Andy Biggs, who won. Jay Feely, who looks like he's going to win. I mean, he's way ahead. And Jay Feely ran for the 1st congressional district, the one that Andy Biggs, I think that's no, that was the 5th. That was Mark Lamb in the 5th that won, and Mark Lamb won. Another Trump-backed candidate, Jay Feely, won. He's backed him, and he won in the 1st congressional district. Mark Lamb won in the 5th. Biggs won, of course, and all that. Mark Lamb, of course, he won, and he didn't come out and say I hate liberals and want to, all that. No. As he said, he campaigned on God, family, and freedom, and he's a hardline on border message. And heads into the general election as a favorite in the district that heavily leans Republican. So I think Mark Lamb, congratulations. I think I think he's our next congressman, which thank God. I think he's a wonderful guy. But this article goes on and says the Democrats avoided damaging their themselves by not going to the extreme socialist Marxist guys. This progressive challenger, Kai Newkirk, in the Arizona's 4th District, on the Democrat side of things, didn't win, and he was pushing the socialism heavy. And let me see, is there another one? And it was Greg Stanton won. He held him off. Greg Stanton from the left making the race test whether the left-wing energy that has shaken Democratic primaries elsewhere could break through in Arizona. And according to this article, that Stanton winning kind of blunted the narrative because I guess there was a lot of hope that the socialists would win in Arizona on the Democrat side. And he will not be going to the general, it looks like. That one won't be. And that was the whole point of that article, was pointing out that Trump's muscle worked. Of course, I think Trump cheats. Yeah, I think he knows the polls, and he knows some people are way ahead, but he doesn't. I think it's great, though. That's fine. There's a, and I didn't know anything about this article till today. I read it this morning at length. It's about a Nigerian pastor that Trump, that's highlighted by Trump. That Trump has mentioned him on social media or something. He's highlighted him. This pastor is a Nigerian pastor in Johannesburg, I guess, or near there. It's near there, not. 9 of his family members have recently been killed because the pastor is an outspoken critic of killing Christians by radical Muslim members. And the Fluana Michelin, I'm not going to get that right. I needed to look that up. I'm sorry. But Takamo, he's the Ezekiel Takamo Reverend. This militias issued death threats against him. He's the leader of the Church of Christ in Nations in Nigeria, Middle Belt. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard about the hunting down and killing of Christians in parts of Africa. I guess I've heard about it. I haven't read a lot about it. Trump put this guy on social media, which I guess doesn't make him safer. State Department and a leading U.S. nonprofit organization have deemed the Nigerian government take more action, or Nigeria, not South Africa, but not Johannesburg, but and they want the Nigerian government to take more action to stop what the State Department described as a shocking violence against Christians. The 9 that were killed, the 9 of extended family members that were killed of this pastor, happened on July 12th. It included a 2-month-old baby amongst the killed. The attackers were allegedly looking for Tacoma and asking, where is the father of this house? And then said, today you learned a hard lesson, and then opened fire on the crowd, killing people. It's just surreal to me that this kind of thing exists, but it does. And now this group sent a threatening letter to the pastor and to members of the church. Its message was terrible. They vowed to attack him and kill him soon, just as they killed the 9 of your relatives. I know what it means to stand before grieving families whose only crime was refusing to deny Jesus Christ, is what the pastor said. And apparently that's part of it. The Muslims will come in and ask you to deny Jesus Christ, and if not, they shoot you. It's going on quite a bit, according to a report that follows it. There's actually a group that follows this group that's following how many Christians, trying to protect them. Judd Saul, he's a founder of Equipping the Persecuted, a nonprofit. His organization works to end religious persecution in Nigeria, specifically aiming to end the radical Islamic violence against Christians. They've reported, the Observatory for Religious Freedom in Africa has reported terror-related violence killed 79,000 323 people from 2019 to September 25 in Nigeria alone. It's 36 people a day that are killed because they're Christian. Well, they say, terror-related violence. It doesn't say Christian. Terror-related violence, which I guess is a lot of it has to do with Christian. And it's the Islamic, and it's spelled F-U-L-A-I-N. Fluan? I don't know. And they accounted for 44% of the deaths. I mean, this one organization. And the Boko Haram, we've heard of it, represents 12%. And there's one other group, ISWAP, that's kind of connected. Boko Haram and ISWAP together combined for 12%. So this one group is 44% of all of it. The State Department, the spokesman for the State Department, says we've seen reports of the killing of 9 Christians in the Plateau state in Nigeria. There remains a shocking level of violence against Christians in the Middle Belt committed by the Fluan ethnic militia. The United States offers its sincere condolences to the family and loved ones who's lost their lives. We unequivocally condemn this heinous act. We urge the Nigerian authorities to hold perpetrators accountable and take specific steps that will improve security for Christians. During meetings with Nigerian officials, July 13th to 15th, Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs Frank Garcia and the accompanying U.S. delegation addressed the United States' grave concerns regarding the violence Christians face in Nigeria and the need for concrete action. As President Trump has made clear, the United States will continue to work with the government of Nigeria to protect Christians and advance religious freedom in Nigeria. Now, the Trump administration, like other administrations, has been carrying out airstrikes in Nigeria aimed at stopping the killing of Christians. Yeah, they kill people to stop killings of Christians, which is terrible, and I don't have an alternative. I don't know. These are terrorists out there. They've been in the north of the country, specifically Boko Haram and ISWAP, or ISWAP, whatever they do it. Well, those are the two combined, are 12%. The other is 44%. They've never targeted them. They've never targeted them. This group that is trying to save Christians says, we want the Trump administration to put laser focus on the middle belt of Nigeria, the Fluan ethnic militia. The pastor, the one that was highlighted by President Trump, Dakomo, says, we ask President Trump to stop the Fluan terrorists from killing our people in Nigeria's middle belt and surrounding regions. These attacks against Christian communities have been going on for years and must be stopped. We need the United States to stand with us. And then he put it on X. He pleaded it to the president of Nigeria, Tinubu. I'm begging you, in the name of Jesus, stop Islamic agenda, Muslims. They want to finish us. Christians, wake up, open your eyes. And then he put a Bible quote in there, Psalms 118:6. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me? He concluded, they threatened my life, but they cannot silence the truth. They may kill the messenger, but they cannot kill the message. Brave guys, tough. The spokesperson for the Nigerian ministry, and I'm very curious, like what does Nigeria say about all this? I mean, it's happening in their country, in the United States, I guess, is helping with some of this, but I'm not sure, but they probably are coordinating this with the Nigerian government. Well, the Nigerian Ministry of Information and National Orientation spokesperson, Rabu, he offered condolences to the Reverend Dakomo, but responded to the pastor's accusation by saying, the government rejects attempts to portray the nation's security crisis as a conflict between faiths. Well, they won't admit the problem or acknowledge the problem. How are they going to solve it if they won't say it exists? Such narratives oversimplify a complicated situation and risk serving the interests of criminal groups who seek to exploit existing fault lines, create fear, and undermine national cohesion. So he doesn't want to it doesn't want to undermine national cohesion by stating what's going on. He said the unfortunate incident revolving Reverend DeComo's family is being treated with the seriousness that every loss of Nigerian life deserves. However, allegations regarding the identity, motivation, and affiliation of perpetrators must be subjected to proper investigation and established through credible security findings. Nigeria's security agencies remain committed to thoroughly investigating all attacks and bringing perpetrators to justice, regardless of their identity or background. I somehow don't feel secure from that. I don't feel good about that, particularly when this organization is even sending messages to the pastor, telling him that you're next. It's kind of crazy, and the United States is involved, but and David Abera says, Buenos dias. Yeah, good morning. How are you, man? To Dave, I didn't know what he was typing at first. I'm not Spanish. I'm not. But I know a few words, mostly the cuss words, because I get called names. But it's a scary, shocking, horrible thing to think that goes on. Obviously, it does, or it has been going on, and I don't know what our total role is in it, other than there's been bombings going on there. They've been trying to curtail some of these, and I'm assuming that's in coordination with the government. But terrible in Nigeria. I hope that pastor makes it. He's already lost 9 members of his family. I know that our church for the City, and I've never done it, but Church for the City does missions, and they've traveled to Africa to do all kinds of things, just help build ministries or help build villages, or they do the same all over. And I know Pastor Tyrone does a lot of that. I don't know if they ever go to Nigeria. I have no idea. That would be scary. But I know there's people that will do those things. They will do them. I'll have to ask him if he goes to Nigeria. I'm not volunteering, no, but maybe. I don't know. I've never had the time, but it looks like interesting to go do something like that. And I know a lot of times they even go into Mexico and just building, help with stuff as just to reach out and stuff like that, which is good. China's building too. They're building massive ships. And this article says we should be scared about it. Americans should be scared because we should be scared about the future. Well, I'm listening. I'd like to know. They're building one that's 885 foot long right now. That is not a battleship or of any kind or an aircraft carrier. It's logistics. They're building logistics ships. It's a replenishment ship. Just fuel and food and all the stuff goes along with it. And I guess we have them. I mean, the United States does have those ships, replenishment ships. They have to. You have ships all over the world. You need to replenish, and they're building one. And it says the ship does improve, that war's imminent, does fit a larger pattern. China's building the physical, industrial, and technological capacity to absorb economic punishment. Which I didn't understand that. What economic? Well, they're apparently doing onshore storage of crude and other things in case they have some kind of issue where they're at war and they don't have time to start doing trade again, or they interesting. But I know we do the same. I guess that's part of having a military, and part of having it is making sure it's protected in the case an event that you have to use it. But some interesting things on this is how fast China has spooled up their shipbuilding. In 1999, and it wasn't that long ago. Dance Like 1999, wasn't that a Prince song or something? We're gonna party like it's 1999. Is that a Prince song? Party like 1999. I don't know. I remember New Year's Eve on 1999. It was a big party. We weren't sure if the world was going to end in 2000, because the computers wouldn't flip to 2000 or something. I don't know. There was some computer program possibility that didn't happen. But global shipbuilding is, as far as global shipbuilding tonnage, they do it by tonnage, not the number, but tonnage. In 1999, they had 5% of the global shipbuilding under their roof. Now it's more than half. I mean, that in 2023, it was more than half. And they do a lion's share of commercial shipbuilding. And that's what helps them sustain the workers, the steel mills, the dry dock suppliers, and all that. Because while they're doing the Navy, it keeps them up. They've also pushed for the stealth fighter, the J-20, which there's a lot of question whether that thing's really stealth. We don't know. It's probably not as much as they thought it was. In fact, the designer of it's disappeared now. Apparently, there were some problems. They've got about 120 aircraft a year they reach. That's how much they build. Well, it says they will reach it they reached it by the late of 2025. And by mid this year, they should have 500 of them ready to go. They can mass produce a sophisticated combat aircraft that not too long ago was just an experimental aircraft. Now it's mass produced. On July 6th, Chinese nuclear power submarine launched a long-range ballistic missile into the Pacific. And of course, it's kind of routine to test those things every once in a while. They demonstrated that they have a greater sea-based nuclear reach than what we thought they had, according to this article anyway. The International Energy Agency reports that China is leading the refiner for 20 of 19 stylistic minerals minerals. They refine them, the rare earth minerals. It's all necessary for military. They refine 70% of the world's materials that feed batteries, power grids, jet engines, electronics. And I know we're well aware of that, and we're bringing a lot of that on shore right now. We have been for the last few years. I don't know that we have a refinery, too much of it here. I know we're supposed to be putting a cobalt refinery here in Yuma County at some place. It's going on, but we need to do that for national security. Obviously, if something goes on and we cut off all trade with China and we lose that, I don't know. We can keep going. We'd have to make some changes fast, and we're capable. But Beijing is shrinking its semiconductor vulnerability too. Chinese company held 33% of the global production capacity for foundational logic chips in 23, up from 19 in 2015. So they're bringing it in-house themselves. They don't make the most advanced chips, but they make the workhorse of the chips. And the article says that we should be warned. We should be scared about that. They're spooling up the amount of ships they now have, and more than that, the production capability they have is crazy. Well, I think we're aware of it now. Trump has ordered some new ships, and he's having to partner with some European countries in order to make them, because we don't have enough expertise in the country anymore. We've given a lot of that up. It's gone overseas. It has, and we need to have some of that in place. We need to have that here too. Advanced computing power talks a little bit about that, about the world, the artificial intelligence, and something that China wants to lead in it. Right now, the United States does, and China's building it as fast as they can. And they've even started the campaign in the United States of misinformation about data centers, trying to slow us down, building data centers and stuff like that. We need to pay attention to it. We need to vet these data centers and make sure they are safe, and that which they're not known to be dangerous, other than they could potentially use a lot of water and could potentially take more power from the grid than what's available. But I think those things are easily solved if we focus on solving them versus focus on just destroying all our data centers or not allowing them. I don't think they're going to be a bad neighbor overall. Learn from any mistakes made. But This says America's problem in Washington is the shipbuilding, the Navy issue, the semiconductors, and minerals. We don't lead in any of it. We have farmed it all out. We buy a lot from Taiwan, Indonesia, but Beijing wants to take that over. The faster we build it, and I know Arizona's got semiconductors, and it's being done in the United States fast right now. We still got a long way to go. It's going to take us years to get up speed to where we supply our own needs. And I think it's more important now than we've ever noticed. We just haven't noticed. Glad we have. Well, it's hump day. It's Wednesday. I haven't heard from Carl today because he likes hump day. I won't now because I got to go. I'll see you tomorrow. We can make it up to Carl tomorrow. Mortgage One Studios, Russ Clark. See you on Thursday.